think I know what this is. You see, Stan, as you get older, things that you used to like start looking and sounding like shit. And things that seemed shitty as a child don't seem as shitty. With you, somehow the wires have gotten crossed and everything looks and sounds like shit to you. It's a condition called being a cynical asshole.
Oh no.
Yes. And there's no known cure, I'm afraid. Everything just seems shitty and everyone starts to seem shitty and everything they say just starts to...
It stinks. It stinks. It stinks.
Yes, Mr. Sherman, everything stinks.
All we are is dust in the wind, dude. Dust. Wind. Dude.
You hate to do it, but at the same time, it's hilarious. Hello and good evening, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Saturday Night Sith number 35. I am one of your hosts, Fractured Filter, along with, as always, Jay Hitman. How are you tonight, sir?
All we are is dust in the wind, dude. That's probably my new favorite one. Real quick before we start, so the beautiful job with the new clip.
I found that one thanks to my brother, Mr.
No. Am I showing my age, or was that Tech 9 rapping, or no?
I have no idea. I couldn't tell you. I'm just more laughing. I'm just more laughing at the fact of how well it was set up of Jesse Pinkman and Walter White racing each other via Mario Kart.
I mean, maybe that, like geeks and gamers do their Mario Kart. I don't think we should.
It's hilarious.
I don't think
watching their streams of Mario Kart reminds me of the old days of playing, with all the friends on N64.
Yeah.
Nothing but a great time,
It's
so watching them just yell at each other but at the same time, you could tell they're just having a hell of a time, just having fun. But
I don't know what's more.
It brings me back into that,
Oh, yeah, I don't know what's more cut through, Mario, Bomberman, or Monopoly. I think they're both.
Monopoly can get pretty cutthroat, especially because it's involved. Even though it's involving play money, it's still involving money.
Oh, listen, there's been many a time that the police have shown up amongst amongst other things. But Monopoly was, I think, the main culprit behind it. But yeah, very, very cutthroat. You touch my boardwalk, I'm a cut you with this chicken bone. Yeah, but I think that'd be fun. I thought about we should do Mario Kart, but it would be it'd be very cutthroat, very cutthroat. I don't play.
Do you even have a Nintendo Switch to play?
No, I need to buy one. I've been debating. I've been debating, but see, Nintendo, they're just shysters, man. They're so. They are. No, hear me out.
They can't be in this game as long as they have and not be a little bit shystery. Come on.
I mean, they're very good at making money, and so I'm like, I am. I'm like, do I want to get this? Do I pay the $350 for that OLED screen? They came up the OLED one, and I'm like, still a lot of money. I don't know. I need to do it. Do you have one?
I do. I finally picked one up after a long time of holding back, just because it's been. I have such a love-hate relationship with Nintendo at this point.
Yeah, it's
because I got their Nintendo GameCube was the first system that I had gotten a job, I worked, that was my first system I bought.
Yeah.
I was very happy, and I enjoyed it for the lifespan that the GameCube still had at that point. It was great. It was just unfortunately to me cut short, thanks to the Wii, which I just kind of thought was still the GameCube, but with motion controls. It didn't feel like it didn't look like a big upgrade to me. So I spurned on the Nintendo Switch. I didn't go near it, or the Nintendo Wii. I didn't go near it. I stayed away. I was like, I'm done. Fast forward a bit, the Nintendo Wii U comes along, and they were showing it off. I saw some gameplay for it, especially for the Zombie U game. I thought it was a really cool concept, since that was when with the Wii U. That's when they first introduced that like tablet controller.
Yeah.
And it was showing off how you got to do, if you do certain things on your tab on the controller while on the big screen while you're playing, you could still get like munched by zombies or whatever. So while you're trying to lock pick, you could still be attacked, or you're sorting through your inventory. You run the risk of a zombie sneaking up on you. You know. So I was like, cool, that's really awesome. And I decided I'm going for it. I'm going to go back to Nintendo. And then there was absolutely no third-party support or anything. That it was just kind of a POA system. And it was really sad and really unfortunate.
So how did
the one positive was that it was backwards compatible with the Wii game. So I could at least pick up some Wii games that I was like, I had passed up on.
Yeah.
And then after that, then the Switch came along and was again, to me, they improved upon what they did with the Wii U, which was a good thing.
The Wii was out there that long though. Maybe I was wrong. I didn't think
or the Wii?
I didn't think the Wii.
The Wii had a pretty long lifespan. Yeah.
I think I just
I finally decided to this year. I picked up a Nintendo Switch especially after watching
Geeks and Gamers.
Them play their Mario Kart and stuff like that.
How do they do that?
Like,
how do they stream? Like, how do they? Like, obviously, I'm not technological savvy, but how do they do that? Are they on? Like, how do you do it? Do you port connect your Wii to your computer? How do you stream it?
You need a capture card sort of device to plug up, and then you'll of course set it up through OBS and all that. They seem to do it. I kind of have a vague idea what they do, because they kind of still use StreamYard.
Yeah.
For part of that. But yeah, I'm not fully sure on how they do the whole setup.
What is it? So capture card, you hook it up to your computer then?
Yeah.
And you run it through OBS?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's how. I like the one I have. I plug it into the USB. It has the in-out HDMI, so I can still put it up on a separate screen. And then it'll do the capture through your computer. And then, like I say,
look into that.
Yeah.
Maybe one of these days I'll have to look into getting. I think it'd be fun. I mean, definitely.
You just have to find the right one, because some of them can be pretty pricey.
Yeah.
I found one that was pretty inexpensive, at least.
I just want to get Mr. Insect riled up, because I've yet to see him get riled up.
Good luck.
So, I don't know, maybe a couple red turtle shells to his tailpipe. Yeah, can I just say, like, have you ever seen Ford versus Ferrari?
No.
With Christian Bale.
I just never watched it.
It's just off topic. I was laughing because Henry Ford II, he comes in and he's shutting down the factory. He motions to the guy to shut it down, and he's like, "You hear that?" He goes, "That's the sound of the Ford Motor Company taking it up the tailpipe by a Chevy Impala." I don't know why. That was just the little things that make me laugh. But I heard that, I was like, that's hilarious. Absolutely hilarious.
Sets you right up.
Well, listen, in this day and age, you gotta find stuff that makes you laugh. But I thought it was pretty funny.
No, I agree with you. You can't laugh. You're just gonna drive yourself insane.
Yeah.
Who needs to do that?
I had put. I don't know. Hopefully, it's not a repeat of last week because I was having a hard time finding stuff. But I was able to find a couple things to go over. And then, as I just want to throw this out here, well, two things I want to talk about. One, as I was watching the football game, an Andor preview came out, and I don't know if this is in
really?
Discord. Yeah, as I don't know if you'd posted any of this in the Discord. I want to double check in case because I don't want to ruin it.
The only thing Andor kind of related that I had was talking about how apparently that article we read last week was wrong. We will still be getting both Bad Batch and Andor. So
okay. Well, so are you sitting down? Because I've got some bad news that you're going to need to sit down for.
Yeah, I'm already sitting down.
Okay. So as I'm watching this preview, which is just dog water, this is just a dog water trailer, and it's a trailer that we have not reviewed, so we should probably maybe try to find it. But apparently, we are now being graced with a 3-part. It's a 3-episode release, and I thought it was 2.
Yes.
I didn't think. Did we talk about?
Oh wait,
3?
it's 3?
It's 3 now. 3 episode premiere. Nope. I literally.
2.
It was just on the old television box. It is now a 3-episode premiere. I'm going to blow my brains out live on our show with my potato gun. So there's content for you if you want content. No, seriously, I thought like, oh no, I'm just hyped up because Oklahoma's up 43-10. No, it's a 3-episode premiere. I thought 2 was a lot for Kenobi, but it's literally 3, and I'm like, I don't know how to get through it. I don't know. We're gonna have to make sure we're both on vacation, so because this is gonna be like a 4-hour show. I don't know how long the episodes are. I can only assume that they're probably gonna be like 40 minutes each. I don't know if we want to do a live stream like we did with Kenobi. I don't know if you're trying to torture me with that. I don't know how else to do it.
I'm not trying to torture anybody here, okay?
I don't know how else to do it, though.
They're trying to do to us.
Well,
good lord.
Touche. I don't know how to go about doing that. If we're going to do a live stream, I don't know. Let's say the first episode's an hour, and then the other 2 are 30. I don't know. I'm just assuming. Let's say it's an hour for the first one, and then 40 for each. Or I doubt that the first episode's going to be 30 minutes. I would assume.
This is like a 12-episode run.
Mm-hmm.
But it just seems funny how they're going to be dropping.
That's half their. I mean, that's a 3, 6, 9, 12. I mean, that's a third of their. It's a third of their series. So maybe I don't know, but it is. I mean, dig up stuff on the internet, see if you can confirm it. But on this trailer that I just saw on national television, between the OU and the UTEP game, it said it's going to be a 3-episode premiere. But that's so stupid. If you're doing 12, that's literally a fourth of your you're going to get 3 episodes in one day. What is the point? The only point to this would lead one to believe logically that you have there's no depth to your show and it's stupid and you have to release 3 of them to.
So just from a quick Google search, I guess August 2nd was when this news had dropped. I completely missed it, and I thought it was just a 2-episode.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if we did talk about it or what.
No, I don't think because I don't
Andor
think
trailer
so.
reveals Star Wars show's delay and 3-episode premiere. Delays, I think that's referring to the Bad Batch, which isn't true.
Well, what's interesting is because when I pulled up, I saw on one of my Twitter posts, but it said Star Wars Lego Summer Vacation out this date, Andor out this date, and it said Bad Batch to be determined.
Yeah, we talked about that last week.
So, but this was.
The desire to play. Trailer hints at their casting, blah blah blah. 12 episodes for Steven goes.
I don't think we talked about it because I was shocked when I saw it.
First 3 episodes drop on September 1st instead of previously planned August 31st date, but you won't have to wait that long to get eyes on it. A new trailer is dropped. So, yeah.
You thought, and I'm just gonna throw this out here. If you thought the trailer that we watched on the show was bad,
and that's this one, yeah. And somehow I guess we probably stopped it at some point before getting the news.
somebody,
I guess I dropped the ball there.
yeah, well, I did. Apparently, I did too. But apparently, there's a guy that is in this trailer, and his name rhymes with Saw Gerrera.
Very subtle.
I'm telling you, I was about 30 seconds away from having to go buy a new 75-inch plasma. Well, they don't make plasma anymore, but I was very close to going to buy a new TV when I saw this trailer. Like, I don't have anger management issues. In anger management, doctor says I can't call people donkeys. This was like the most dog water trailer. Like, out of all the trailers that we've seen, like this, it's so bad. It's so bad. We talked a little bit on the show last week. Like, I don't understand how, 20 years ago you can have a preview for Attack of the Clones be so much more superior than the dog water stuff that's coming out today.
Yeah.
And there's no excuse. There's so much technology. It should be better that, like, if like, I would never intentionally say this, but like, you should be able to create, you'll never be able to duplicate or replicate what George did, but you should be able to chase the bar that was set, if that makes sense. And you're not even in like the same stadium.
No.
Compared, but it's so, I wish I'm going to search for it. I'm going to try to search for it. It's so bad.
Here's the other news of, Disney backtracks, quietly plans to release 2 Star Wars series at once. Oh, if you want to die, here we go. Star Wars fan didn't think it would happen, but Disney has decided to release 2 new projects on the same day in September. While fans have probably heard about the Andor series, some might not be familiar with The Bad Batch. As a sequel to the Clone Wars, Bad Batch Season 2 was confirmed for September 28th. But this was before Andor was pushed back. Originally, Andor would have released on August 31st, but the show was delayed a few weeks and will release 3 episodes instead of 1. While this may be good news for some fans, others were concerned that Andor might have confirmed that The Bad Batch Season 2 would be delayed. There was no word about the animated series until last week, when fans learned that The Bad Batch Season 2 wasn't included in a promotion for what the shows to watch on Disney Plus in September. Disney Plus left the series out of the roster, but no one officially announced that the series was delayed. And that was some of the stuff that we were going over last week, was that whole, Bad Batch was supposed to be to be determined or whatever.
Yeah.
And we were like, yay, thank God. We'll only have to endure Andor and check it out. Oh, but no. Fans were confused by the lack of communication. Instead of releasing another trailer or doing any promotions for the new series, Disney Plus quietly included Bad Batch into the schedule for September. This means that the show will release a week after Andor, and both will release new episodes on the same day for the next 9 weeks.
I can't.
One fan noticed the change and shared the great news online. Quotation marks, great news. Screenshotted Disney Plus confirming the release date.
Am I going to get a strike from YouTube if I play this?
If you play what?
I'm trying to find the TV, like the I don't know if it was the last trailer, but the trailer where it has that dumb Filoni Saw Gerrera character.
Also, it's like, so with this in mind, fans should note that Disney has done this with Miss Marvel and Obi-Wan Kenobi released simultaneously. Nobody, last I knew, really wanted to watch either.
Where they were both the worst released like shows. Like Miss Marvel was terrible. Like I heard the ratings were like in the toilet.
It got very low.
It got about as high as
about it, yeah.
It got about as high as praise as Kenobi did, and that's not that's just like me being honest.
It is, yeah. It was not. It was maybe lukewarm. reception for Miss Marvel.
You're being generous.
We ourselves endured Kenobi, so
Yeah.
and Perfume said, "Yeah, please, no." It's like they're just purposely trying to torture us at this point.
I don't understand, but why? Why?
Well,
How is that a good marketing strategy?
Well, this is funny. So, like they mentioned here in this article, it's like if fewer people are talking about it, then the Bad Batch or even Andor could potentially have fewer viewers and make less money than Disney Plus. Bad Batch is a series with barely any marketing, but that doesn't mean it couldn't do well if given a chance. You would think, because now I don't follow great deals of the fandom, especially for Disney. Star Wars, I don't go near that territory. I stick outside that bubble. But my understanding was the Bad Batch was certainly one of those shows that was much more well received. I could be mistaken here, but I mean, I'm just kind of bleh. I'm just kind of meh with it.
Oh, Bad Batch.
Yeah, but
Yeah, it's
as far as
bad.
I know, just because of the fact that it's Filoni and stuff, it usually has the fanfare. So it kind of does surprise me that they aren't keeping up with that momentum and also just that fervent side of the internet and like spark and getting more buzz going. You'd think they would be wanting to advertise a little more instead of just been kind of quiet all on the home front. So yeah, so what's the thing you're wanting to?
Oh, I was just trying. I don't know because I don't think any of the trailers that we watched had Saw Gerrera in it, but I was trying to, but I don't know if it's gonna play or not.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised
if the trailer has him in it.
I wouldn't be surprised if he pops up, but I don't remember seeing him in any of the trailer.
Well, this one was from a month ago. Yeah.
Last trailer we watched.
Let me. Oh dear.
Yeah.
Why can I hate ads, and I'm not gonna pay for YouTube to have ads. We don't have to worry about it. I'll have to research it. But he was definitely in it, and I'm like, great, wonderful. I really just, if there's anybody that would get me, if there's anybody that would want to or would help motivate me to watch this show, he's not the person.
No, he's not the person
No.
I'd want. I'm particularly
I don't want to touch it now. Like I didn't want to touch it before, but now, and it's the same actor that played. Obviously, what's his name? Not Lawrence Fishburne. Who's the guy that?
Forrest Whitaker.
Yes, Forrest Whitaker. I just remember him from all the what was a gang movie back in the day. I don't remember, but that's
Yeah, he's been in a bunch of. I mean, he's a long time actor. I don't believe I don't believe he popped up in the Andor trailer. Unless, wait. Oh, yeah, he did. I just popped.
Did you find it? Oh, okay.
Hang on.
Did you find it on your end?
Yeah. Yeah. So there he is in the Andor trailer.
And all of his glory. He doesn't have his mask on. I wonder what happened. That comes later.
Pre-mask, yeah.
Yeah, whatever you call it, inhaler or whatever.
I don't know. Yeah.
Well, and that begs the question: like, what are they doing with the show? Like, they just released a video about the timeline.
This is supposed to be what, two seasons? Last I heard. Because I mean, they can only do so much before it leads up to Andor getting nuked on that planet from Rogue One.
Well, and then I don't understand. Like, so now they've released like timeline trailers. Like, is this show so convoluted? And I get it, Disney, Filoni, convoluted, no consistency. But is it so convoluted that you have to release a timeline trailer to get people to understand. Oh, look, it's Star Wars Theory doing his reaction. No one cares. Yeah, like they're doing timeline trailers.
I think I heard. I think I heard.
Official and/or official timeline trailer by Diego Luna. So pumped not to watch it. It came out a day ago.
Say that sounds like a fan channel, not a official.
That's IGN.
Oh, those clowns.
No, yeah. I mean, yeah. Right. Take it for what it's worth. It's IGN. Maybe back like 20 years ago.
Star Wars Skywalker Saga timeline.
This one's the
No,
Andor.
this one's to your.
Andor official.
Official timeline trailer.
Yeah.
1 day ago.
Yeah. I don't want to pull it up just because it's IGN, and I don't want to give them any credit. But like, it's interesting. That begs the question, though. Like, why are you doing timeline trade? Is it just for like people that know nothing about Star Wars, and they got that you have to basically like tell you like this takes place before they get nuked, or is it so convoluted? And then you got Saw Gerrera in it, so like, how far back does this thing go? Because again, Saw like died, obviously on what was it? I keep wishing it was Jakku that got nuked, but Scarif. Where were they at? Scarif? Is that where he was at?
I don't recall.
I
haven't watched Rogue One in a really long time.
No, it wasn't Scarif. It was the planet before.
Should we check? Should we? I wasn't planning on this, but let's.
Hey, you know what's wrong with a little impromptu?
Let's. Yeah, you know. Hey, gotta spice things up, right?
Everybody's so yeah.
All right, let's see this.
So schedule based.
Before a new hope emerges, in a galaxy far, far away.
He's working on his accent.
Before the creation of a devastating weapon known as the Death Star.
Yep.
And before a team of rebels known as Rogue One united.
No.
Jyn Erso.
You're not the ones that properly did it.
Yeah. What do you mean, Kyle and Jan?
Kyle and Jan. They're the ones.
Jan Ors and Kyle Katarn replaced by yours truly.
I mean, it's funny because it's like, God. They basically gender swap Kyle for a chick.
Yeah.
But give her basically Jan, very similar sounding name to Jan.
Literally.
And then Andor here, he's basically in Jan's spot because he's the rebel that recruits the other person. That was essentially what was Jan's role.
Jan.
And you again gender sex swap from a woman to a man, and instead of being Japanese, now
well, we live in a system where
it's
like nobody's gonna catch it though, right? Because like in this day and age, who cares, right? I mean, you can be a rock for all you want.
It's just funny the little play because I've heard other people explain it differently, and I'm just like, no, it's basically.
Well, hold on, who's explaining this to you?
Jan has been replaced by Andor, and Jyn Erso replaced Kyle Katarn.
Well, there's no arguing. Like, so who's like asking you?
Well,
it's like
so
you read the book.
I've seen other people say otherwise.
Like not directly to you.
Where they say it's God, like Jyn Erso is replacing Jan, just because it's again females and their names are
no
familiar. And Kyle, and basically just because it's Andor that looks like a discount Kyle.
That's very,
and that's the swap there. But no, because you have to actually look at their roles in what was going on, and so it's
Kyle is
goofy.
Jyn. Kyle is Jyn.
Yeah, Kyle's Jyn, and
Jyn is
Jan is Andor.
Yeah.
All right.
An unsuspecting thief named Cassian Andor will be thrust onto a journey that sparks the birth of a rebellion and sets in motion everything you've come to know.
So that was a very brief little, not much of a.
I mean, it's pretty much
that's where they
you
say
adding.
the 3 episode thing.
I mean, it's simple. Like, you could come to this conclusion without really. I mean, just watch the movies, and you can. I mean, that is pretty much just a pointless, like, waste of time.
Yeah. Just go and play Dark Forces, or get the audio.
It's too violent.
Dramas.
Nah,
Get the audio get the audio dramas for Dark Forces.
It's too violent.
Stuff.
Can't do it.
Listen
It's
to
too
those.
violent.
They're fantastic.
Yeah, but they're violent though. Like you can't be promoting Gears of War and Doom. Can't do it. It's too violent. And it was
never trust.
Don't trust it. No, don't trust. Yeah. I don't know. We gotta figure out. Like, is it this month?
Yes.
When is it? Because so I know when I need to go on vacation. I did. But,
they're saying September 21st, so we got like 3 weeks.
But why I don't understand. Like they did this like just this ridiculousness with Kenobi. So like, why do it with Andor? If you're only doing 12 episodes, why would you release 3? Are they just so bad that you want to like you have to either one they make no sense, like the first episode makes no sense without the second, and the second doesn't make any sense without the third. Like you like need that much to like piece this dumpster fire together, or I don't know what the other option would be. But if you have 12 and you release 3, like I don't get it. But I bet you my next paycheck that it's probably going to be episode 1's going to be an hour, episode 2 is going to be, I'd say, 35 to 40 minutes. I bet you they're like 40 minutes. There's no way that they're going to be 25. There's no way they're going to be 20. Kenobi was 35 minutes, and then Mandalorian was about 30, 40 minutes ish.
Well, and Kenobi kept like fluctuating on weird. It was
that's a bad example. But so Mando and Mandalorian and Book of Mandalorian, they were
basically.
You want to some good news? Out of nowhere, I was going through my videos, cleaning out my videos on my channel, and I found the spinning video, the Spinneroni video you sent me. Like, remember the spin?
From
Book of Boba.
Right.
Yeah. Oh god, I watched it repeatedly. I was like, it's like I had a PTSD moment, and it took me back to that episode where they're all like they're in the tattoo parlor getting they're getting their tattoo parlor. Yeah, so stupid. But it's like Roger Moore did it better. Roger Moore did a better spin move, or back it was just the cheesiest thing ever.
Which Bond movie?
I'm just saying, Roger Moore could have done a better move. But some other news. So I was at work earlier in the week, and I had to do a walk with some of our executives. And
fun.
It's always fun. And this she's into Star Wars. Like I got introduced, and it's like, oh yeah, she's a Star Wars fan.
Oh no!
I'm sorry. Yeah. So this is a girl from, I think, she's from headquarters, I think. Anyways, but I got introduced. I'm like, yeah, Jay Hitman. Well, I'll just say Jay Hitman here is a Star Wars fan, and this person is also a Star Wars fan. And I said, well, I said I'm a Lucas Star Wars EU fan, because they had said that this person is a really big, like, Star Wars, Disney, Grogu. So, but what was interesting about the conversation? So I had
How do
somebody,
I miss out on this time?
because you decide not, because you want to just work the. Listen, I'm telling you, the stuff at night. I mean, it's popping. But this is how it started. They introduced me to her and said that I was a Star Wars fan, and she's a Star Wars fan, and she's like, how this conversation came about is because she was like, I was talking to HR was like, I was talking to Jay Hitman and showed him a picture of the First Order trooper who is a stormtrooper, and I told her that it's not a stormtrooper, that it has no, like, and so that's how the debate, the argument started. She says, First Order is a stormtrooper. I was like, that's not a thing, and that turned into, like, Jacob here's
I would say it's a mouse trooper. It's not a,
it's not even, I mean, yeah.
No,
she says,
like
and
the
then,
First Order troopers, that's all that is.
So, and then it turned into this whole, like, well, yeah, he's a Star Wars fan. I was like, I'm a George Lucas EU fan. I had nothing. Yeah, anything Disney is not canon and not Star Wars. And I progress into she's and then it progressed into my boss saying that 7 and 8 were the best movies, and the 7 and 8 were the best, and 9 was really bad. And
did you have a lobotomy?
I looked at him and I'm like, you mean 7, 8, and 9 are utter just dog water and should never be mentioned in my presence, like, ever.
Ever again.
And so it was just an argument. It's just like, I think they thought I was like, they were like, oh, haha. Like, I was like, no.
Joking
like,
around.
Yeah, because then our HR was like, yeah, they're all, stormtroopers are all the same. And I sat there, I was like, yes, because the 501st were actual stormtroopers. She's like, yeah. And I'm like, no, clones and stormtroopers are not the same thing, homie. Clones are, you want to know what a clone is? It's in their name. Duh. Like, I just, but yeah, she's from, I couldn't go too hard on her because she's from corporate, but she's like, yeah, I got a baby Yoda in my office. And I'm like, oh, fuck, it's just Grogu. And I said,
do you throw darts at it?
Oh God, no. And then she's like, yeah, baby Yoda. I was like, well, I was like, fun fact of the day. There's like 4 of us in this meeting. I was like, fun fact of the day. Did you know that there was only 2 species? There's only like 2 like species of Yoda. Like, and I went in, it's like, because George himself, like, explicitly said that, like, he did not name this thing, did not give a race to this thing for, this is an interview we can pull up on YouTube.
Yoda, for Yoda and Yaddle.
Yes, Yaddle. Yeah, that's what I said. There's Yoda and Yaddle. And I said there was no Grogu. Like, Yoda, Yaddle was a female, Yoda was a male that we know of.
Grogu was specifically created for people like you to glom onto. It was marketing. It was pure toyism. Way more than what even you can accuse George Lucas of. It was purely created to be cute, to get people like that to attach themselves to that freaking character. Even though it's done next to nothing, almost nothing.
I'm pretty sure I've shot my career's over. Like, I will not be moving up at all because I told them that, like, no, you're wrong. Stormtroopers are not there's. Yeah.
No, if you want to take the heat, get the heat taken off of you, just bring me in. I'll be happy to say.
But then I'm looking around, like, the episodes, like, from Pulp Fiction. It's like John Travolta, like, looking around, like, where's Fractured Filter? Oh, nowhere to be found. Like,
every time you get into these conversations with people, and
they're all ganging up on me. They're like all like Disney shit. Like, 2 of them work with us.
That's why you.
And one of them is.
You gotta have your ammunition ready.
I did.
To properly, like, get your point across and just blow them out of the water.
Our HR was like, she was like, no, my husband researched and said the First Order are stormtroopers. I'm like, no. They are not. Your husband's wrong.
They're just First Order troopers. They're completely different. They aren't even part of the Empire anymore. It's no longer the Empire. It's a completely new faction. I mean,
This is gonna sound really sexist, but they were like, to my knowledge.
Hang on. Let me actually look at this really quick. I hate to say go to Wikipedia, but let's.
Oh, that's about as reliable as.
No, as listening to a Disney shill, I know.
The moderators work in LA, for goodness sake. That's about as reliable as going to WebMD to figure out, like, what you're dying of.
I mean, I can't argue with that.
It's like, oh, my stomach hurts. You're pregnant, or you have brain cancer. I'm going to say that they are not the same.
All right, Finn, what does it say on your stupid profile?
Probably will say
Oh, they do call them stormtroopers. I mean,
no, because they would have all surely have been died. Well, I don't know if died out's the right, because you had the clones, and then you had the 501st.
So
and
yeah,
they
they're
served Vader.
stormtroopers, also known as First Order stormtroopers, or bucketheads. I was even known for the regular stormtroopers.
Yeah, so they're not though. I need to reach out
sadly
to OG.
though, when you're going off of their canon, you still kind of have. This is like why you have to at least know a bit about what's going on in their stupid realm. I just thought they were like First Order troopers.
Yeah. Okay, so let me refine my argument. If you follow canon, which is true canon, which is what George created, they are not. You had the clone troopers, which obviously turned into the 501st, and then you had the stormtroopers.
The 501st was a specific legion that was under control
Legion,
of Vader
yes.
and Anakin, so they were not all encompassing stormtroopers. The 501st was just that more.
No, they were clones, right? They were
not all of them. A lot of them had been decommissioned by a certain point of time.
Well, yeah. But they weren't. The 501st were not replaced by actual stormtroopers, correct?
501st. I mean, this is getting goofy.
This is where it gets convoluted. But like the 501st were all.
So the 501st was once, yes, an amalgamation of clone troopers and regular human recruits until, like I said, the full regiment of clones were finally just either decommissioned, they died out, or retired, whatever.
Yeah.
And they were replaced by regular people that were meant to be like the tops of the tops. So that was that legion of stormtroopers. There are still all stormtroopers, but that was just a specific legion of them.
Yeah.
Certain company, however you want to look at it in military terms. So yeah,
I refuse to believe that these First Order.
Here, I mean,
I've never heard them be called. I've never heard the First Order. Them be called stormtroopers.
I don't recall it much myself, but it's been a really long time since I've even bothered to watch those movies. And
I'm sending
pay attention to any of those movies to really know what they actually called the troopers. So,
how do I want to do this? I'm as of right now, I'm sending OG a message on Twitter.
Okay.
I'm in DM. I don't know how I want to put this. We got a filibus while I do this.
Okay, so I'll talk about something positive. So this was something that cropped up on my Twitter feed that I think was really cool to see. Thanks to Niche Gamer that they had this article here about Legacy of Kain Soul Reaver HD Remaster mod now available. Like I say here, while the IP remains in limbo due to Square Enix selling off Crystal Dynamics, a fan-made Legacy of Kain Soul Reaver HD Remaster was just released. The new Soul Reaver HD Remaster painstakingly replaces all textures in the 1999 release game, making it look quite appealing on modern displays. Soul Reaver was the second game in the series, focuses on protagonist Raziel, seeking revenge against eponymous series mainstay Kain. The game was available in modern times on Windows PC via Steam and GOG, but it was pulled for important updates and hasn't been relisted since. Speculation tends to mention this was likely due to the now confirmed Embracer Group buyout of Crystal Dynamics, who own the IP. And they do have a trailer here checking this out. Now, I was trying to check out this mod myself to really see it and play it and stuff like that, but sadly, I'm still having a hell of a time trying to get the game to run. I'm hoping that they're going to relaunch it on GOG or maybe put out whatever important updates are needed to play on modern systems, because I've just been having a pain in the backside time trying to play this game in general. I haven't even installed the mod. I've done it. Well, no, that's not true. I've done it with an installed version, tried to get it run, wouldn't do it. And then and then I did a clean version of the game. Still couldn't get the game to run. I don't know what I'm doing wrong. I'm probably doing something stupid. Who knows? I've tried a few things, but let's even kind of just check here. That's a 3-minute trailer. We'll just kind of skim through some of it, but it's already looking. Looking promising from the get. That's why I wanted to check it out myself. So let's stop that screen share. And already you get to kind of see some of the cleanup of the textures.
Like a corpse in a shallow grave, corruption rises to the surface.
And this is what I say, is all you need is just a great HD texture pack from...
the abyss, Raziel. I have only spared you from total dissolution.
Any way to get me to shut up? Is this the...
Look around you, Raziel. See what has become of our empire. This place has outlasted its usefulness. As have you.
I hope the person put in different music just for the trailer, at least, because the regular music is just fantastic in this game.
Beasts could not be kin of our high blood.
I gotta say, it's looking. I mean, I wish I could have gotten to play it to really see it for myself, but even from this trailer, I'm liking this. Probably taking some of the textures from like Soul Reaver 2 and stuff from the Dreamcast versions. I think they had kind of touched it up for that console. So yeah, I didn't want to go too long on that one, but definitely something to check out. Like I said, some positivity to get out there, because you need it. You need some. And instead of a game getting remade or whatever, here you go, a remastered texture pack that you can go download, still play, experience the original game the way it was intended, just a little prettier, a little sparked up, So, yeah, go do that.
This is either gonna make, Oh, sorry. This is I was just gonna say, this is either gonna make or break it. They're either gonna be like, Jay Hammond's an idiot, or they're gonna be like, we need to come on the show and help these guys out, eviscerate all these people that think contrary to what we're talking about. So we'll see what they say. I'm curious. I could be wrong, and if I'm wrong, I'll eat crow. But I do not think that the First Order troopers were considered stormtroopers from a
I think some of it's
chronological. It might be nitpicky.
Some of this is kind of getting into semantics. This is kind of like,
Well, darn it, it's a hill I'm willing to die on. I'm not going to share
I wish I
a room with the peasant-like First Order. No, I refuse. And I think George would say the same. Which leads us into kind of next thing. Well, I don't know if there's a couple things that we'd had on here. I don't know if you want to go over one thing, but I had another thing. I think we may have posted the same thing in our Discord, but
we had a few things that lined up, yeah.
Okay, where is it? Well, Rowan Johnson had a
that was for anybody that's looked at the title of this particular live stream. This is what I mean by the threat of torture. Hang on, I'm pulling it. Pulling it up right now. Yeah, Ruin Johnson has a Star Wars trilogy update that will shock fans. And it's basically been the same freaking news that we've been hearing since he did The Last Jedi. Force, God, if it ever did, Force still flows through Ruin Johnson 5 years after lukewarm reception to The Last Jedi. Director Ruin Johnson revealed Tuesday that his new trilogy is still very much alive and in development. Reported Empire magazine. For 5 years, they've been still supposedly mulling this around. Something? You haven't seen anything though? Nothing other than this like crops up every other year maybe or so. It likes to recirculate that. Oh yeah. It's just at this point a matter of schedule and when it can happen. I've stayed close to Kathleen Kennedy, and we get together often and talk about it. Johnson told the publication, referring to the Lucasfilm president. We call her Satan. It would break my heart if I were finished, if I couldn't get back in that sandbox at some point. Can we just kick you out and keep you out? I'd much prefer that. Johnson's trilogy was announced in 2017 after his Star Wars directorial debut and had promised to feature new characters from a corner of the galaxy that Star Wars lore has never before explored, according to IndieWire, which added that a parallel tagline was echoed by Thor: Love and Thunder director Taika Waititi, who is slated to have a Star Wars film in 2025. Oh, that'll be lovely. Another thing we did talk about before.
I think I have a scheduling conflict then.
Johnson's comments track with those made by Kennedy and Star Wars Celebration earlier this year. Now everybody's so busy, genuinely busy, and working on things, Kennedy said to Empire. Ruin Johnson had such a gigantic success with Knives Out. I guess. I don't know. I didn't hear all that much positivity about that one. That he's very committed to try and get that done. So it'll be a while, and we have to work 3-5 years in advance on what we're doing. So that's where that sits, Kennedy added, but we love him. Keep what, though? I mean, I'm still trying to
Is this the same article, though, that I posted? Or maybe a similar one?
It's very close to it, basically.
The one that the Last Jedi director confirms his new Star Wars trilogy.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. It was different pictures, so I didn't know if it was the same article or not.
Yeah, I'm guessing it's the same sort of commentary on what's going on. So then, yeah, Johnson expressed how proud he is of his film, despite it receiving mixed reviews from critics and backlash from fans. When I was up to bat, I really swung at the ball, and he missed. I hope the film is an affirmation of the point of the myth of Star Wars in our lives. For me, the process of stripping away is always in the interest of getting to something essential that really matters, he added. While fans might have to wait several more years for another trilogy, Disney has been churning out content. Yeah, so we already know about that. Like I said, this is like the threat of torture. Because, like people have pointed out, he, under at least a degree of somebody kind of guiding him and telling him that, you know, there's a story that we want to tell. We're telling it, but we're going to have you direct, like, certain episodes. Because people swear up and down that his episodes of Breaking Bad directorially were really good. But because, you know, that was being showrun by Vince Gilligan, he kept things under...
Well, you make the argument, like, is it him or is it
Well, that's just it. Is it him, or is it the people that's also in charge trying to maintain a level of quality to their programming? So, because I mean, anybody that's now seen him get to play in the sandbox, so to speak, he just shits in that play box and says it's great, and then says deal with it and walks away.
Right.
So, I
guess it's possible that you can be. I guess it's possible that you can do really, really good with one show and really bad on the other. But I would be more apt to believe that like you just suck on both ends of the spectrum. Kind of like Deborah Chow. I'm sorry, it's a kid's show.
Again, you're not wrong there. I mean, again, it's.
But I never watched Breaking Bad, so I can't comment whether it was good or not.
I'm trying to recall what episodes people have said that he directed that were so good. I don't really know. I mean, to me, all the episodes all had a very familiar style to them.
Yeah.
For the way they're shot, angles, and stuff like that. So I honestly was like, oh, he did direct. I mean, it was still the writing of the writing team that was made, and like I said, Vince Gilligan was the one in charge of the show and stuff. He was maintaining that. It was like he was maintaining control over it. So he wanted to see it done in a particular way, and he did. It wasn't allowed, I'm guessing, for old Ryan Johnson to go too off the rails.
Well, because when he goes off the rails, he goes into like the ditch that leads into the lake that leads, to the bottom of the lake. I don't know. There's no going off the rails with him. When he goes off, it's like just.
Well, and it's so funny too because like it got started to get reported during Rise of Palpatine that Jar Jar Abrams was saying he supposedly left notes and stuff like that on where it was supposed to go after he did Force Awakens. But then, as we all heard from Ruin Johnson, was that he already had he quote unquote had his script written. It was basically the first draft. He didn't go off of anything that was left for the supposed notes that were left and whatnot, and direction for the story or whatever, and he just did what he freaking did.
Which was, it's funny that like you're not famous for making. How do I want to say this without sounding like a complete idiot? It's like, like Steven Spielberg and George Lucas are known for making Jurassic Park and Star Wars, right? Though Ryan Johnson, really, Ruin Johnson, is known for, like, yes, he did Last Jedi, but like he will forever be known as the guy that like screwed the pooch. Like if that makes any sense. Like, but yeah, they don't read notes and they don't follow notes. George left notes, George left scripts, and Bob Iger is like, F you and your mother, we're not going to do it. After, they acquired it. So I'm very curious to see what Jar Jar Abrams' plans were. Because we can only you see how bad Force Awakens was.
Well, like it's been said, it was all a bunch of mystery boxes that were set up in Force Awakens that were never really revealed what was in the box.
No, I got into actually not a debate, a conversation with a guy at work, and we were like on the same page because he's more he can like different stuff, but we were in agreement that like J.J. Abrams hasn't directed anything good. Like he like Lost was. I never watched Lost, so I can't speak on Lost on that. But
even on Lost, I think he was mostly a producer anyway. He wasn't part of the writing team and everything.
I thought he was.
I thought he was a part of
look it up.
I'm gonna double check that because I didn't think he did too much.
You don't think he produced or directed it? I thought he was a director. He had
He might have done a few
or executive.
episodes,
Yeah. But
so,
the point is like
he is one of the creators.
Yeah.
Of the show.
So Lost was, in my from what I've heard, is terrible. His Star Trek sucks, and his Star Wars is atrocious.
See, this is like what people. He sets up mystery boxes basically. That's kind of his shtick, and it did have a lot of interesting stuff that got established. It started out, again, I hate to keep repeating interesting, but that's what it was. It was an interesting show at first, and then as you could just say, as the mystery boxes got opened up, they were very disappointing.
Yeah.
So
did you watch any of his have you watched any of his Star Trek films?
I watched the first one.
Did he do the second one with Khan?
He did do the second one with Khan.
Where they just butchered Khan. Like, I'm not a Star Trek guy, don't tell Tim. But I know enough about Star Trek to know that you just screwed the pooch with Khan. Cumberbatch.
Yeah, I heard they did it in a really kind of convoluted manner on how they were trying to allude to him being Khan, but trying not to say he was Khan. I didn't know there was
time travel within Star Trek. Maybe.
Yeah, they've done. Even in
they have their own. Do they have their own Doctor Strange?
Some of the original movies. I don't remember which one it was, but they went back in time to save some whales for some reason.
Space whales?
No,
is that where Filoni got it?
Actual whales.
Oh.
Okay, so for when it comes to Star Trek, I've watched the original series. I like the original series. I find it very enjoyable. A lot of
Shatner
fun.
And Leonard Nimoy.
With Shatner, Nimoy,
and who's this? Scotty.
Yeah, the OG crew.
OGs.
It's really fun. I like it. I've kind of joked and called it Bros in Space. Because it's Bones, Spock, and usually Kirk. They're usually up to whatever. And sometimes Scotty gets included and stuff like that too. But I mean, it's just very, very much more of a fun adventure in space and everything. And the early days of the Federation and whatnot. And I've tried watching, or I watched 4 or so. I think it's like 4. We just got the 4th season of The Next Generation, and for the life of me, I couldn't go on. I found
it with the female. What's her name? She female captain.
No, that was
Next Generation. Was that Next Generation?
Next Generation was with Patrick Stewart as the captain.
What was the one with the redheaded?
It's on the tip of my tongue.
Couldn't stand her.
Voyager.
Star
Trek Voyager.
Could not stand that.
I never watched that series. I've heard good things about Deep Space Nine. I just haven't watched it. But
Next Generation. Next
Generation, I just found very stale and just kind of boring. I know a lot of people love it, but I'm just hot take here.
Patrick Stewart.
Especially it took forever. Especially since it took forever to get rid of freaking Will Wheaton. That guy was a kid actor or whatever, a teen actor at the time. He was insufferable. His character was insufferable.
Yeah.
And I wanted to vent him out a goddamn airlock.
Yeah.
And they never did, sadly.
Like you did with the on Jedi Outcast.
With the stormtroopers.
Yeah.
Exactly. I would vent him out an airlock very easily. And I know we were just getting into the Borg being introduced, but for the life of me, I couldn't be bothered. I just kind of was like, I'm tapped. I'm done.
Yeah.
It didn't. I tried. I got through 4 seasons, and it just never really warmed up to me that well. And you think, well, you went through 4 seasons. Yeah, because sometimes you try and give things time to maybe warm up.
Well,
and I probably should have just stuck with the 1 season, because if you just go with the 1 season, it was especially like
bad.
stale grading. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because again, they were I don't know what their idea was with having this kid be almost not a central focus, but certainly he got a lot of time. And it was just like, why? God, why?
Just, yeah, it makes no sense.
So to me, and I tried to watch Star Trek, the motion picture, which was like the first movie they did after their long hiatus after the original show had ended. I fell asleep, but that might have been my own fault for doing it trying to watch it after work. I was already kind of tired, so
yeah.
I've seen Wrath of Khan. I prefer the original episodes with him in it. Like I thought those were a lot better than that movie. Again, I guess a hot take. I didn't really care for Wrath of Khan. It was I loved Ricardo Montalban like chewing scenes and stuff like that. That was hilarious. But for them to try and go, oh well, Star Trek is real sci-fi and serious stuff like that. Well, you're kind of getting offset a little bit here. When you're at least trying to maintain a fun tone of the originals, it's okay. But
yeah,
you're trying to be more serious and stuff like that. And it's like on top of it, yeah, you have him just, like I said, just chewing scenery. It's fun, but it's just kind of counter to what they're trying to present.
Yeah.
At least in my eyes. But I'm kind of a dummy, so.
Here's a question for you. Do you think if Ruin had followed JJ, his plans would have been as bad as it was?
It just would have been probably a different kind of bad.
Yeah.
Because again,
but on a scale of like how bad? That's the question.
So like it is, I'm looking at. I brought up the whole cast and crew list for Lost. So
yeah.
Jar Jar Abrams had apparently done like 118 episodes. I mean, it says created by. So I guess
I thought he was I don't know why I thought he was a director.
Well, it says series writing credits, so he gets apparently credits, but I don't know if that's actually because it says story by 2 episodes. Created by 118 episodes, teleplay by 3 episodes. Yeah. Again, created by 118. So it's like, did he actually write anything? Or is he just kind of like, here's ideas? Because they have actual written by a bunch of other people.
If it's written by, is he the creator?
Yeah, he's the creator of the show. So I guess he might have been like showrunner or something like that, but it was like, again, it was just the whole matter of none of them had good payoffs.
Yeah. I don't know. I'll probably never watch Lost and
Saviors. Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
God, because like we were really into it. We were really looking forward to the final season. We were into it, watching along. And God, that last season was just kind of like a whole big what the hell.
Yeah.
Like I'm sure I could imagine it's probably the equivalent of like what people said for just how off the rails Game of Thrones went for their later seasons. So yeah. I'd probably put it in that same category.
Oof.
Yeah, it got pretty out there. It just stopped making any kind of sense.
I just hope that, like, do you really think that like they'll do 3 more? Because even Kennedy herself was like, "We're going to like she's." I remember. I don't know if we ever talked about this. I think we talked about we may have talked about it in our earlier shows. It's so weird to say the earlier shows now that we're on like episode 35, but where she wanted to go away from trilogies and just do like singular movies, which I think, yeah. So
well,
is she gonna
now? What have I said that this Disney Star Wars is very good at? They're very consistent at being
and not inconsistent. Yeah.
So
I mean, she says herself, like, yeah, we want to go away from doing a trilogy and then being in, conversation with Rowan about possibly doing another trilogy.
yeah,
I hope not.
It's always so back and forth with this crap. It's never a guarantee on what's actually going on.
I mean, it was just like, you gotta know that it was bad, and like, I don't know. I don't even know like where you'd start if you'd bring in, like, if it would be a continuation of Skywalker, Palpatine.
They would either do a few things. They'd either do so one thing would be, yeah, they would continue that storyline, and I don't know where they would
do
go
Finn
with
better.
it. I don't know.
Be like, oh yeah, we were
or-
racist to you or racist against you, so we're gonna give you your own story.
Or they do another time skip and maybe make this a little bit more of a larger time skip and get to something completely different.
They'd have, in order to do
separate
that, they'd have to
themselves.
bring in space wells for the time travel. Like, there is no Doctor Strange in Star Wars, so I don't know how you would go.
Now, they do have the time bridge.
Why would you do that? Why?
Why
You
would
might
I
as well
remind
just
you
see.
of something as horrible
Yeah.
as that? Yeah.
Why not? Why not just stay with the space wells? Why do you have to bring up the time bridge?
Because it's the part of their continuity. It was part of a lot of things that a lot of people suspected would be their way of either quote unquote erasing the sequel trilogy or redoing it, or now it's just called, okay, let's bring in a bunch of goofy characters from different timelines.
I mean, I would much rather you say that, like, somehow Loki, like, infiltrated the Star Wars universe and built the Einstein Bridge or whatever it is, and that's how they. Like, I'd be okay with that. I'd be okay with that.
Loki, watch.
But you saying space wells and time bridge, like, just make me want to go have a glass of cyanide on the rocks, because I know it's a little bit bitter. Oh, God. Yeah, that's probably what's gonna happen. Time bridge.
Probably.
I was set on the space whales.
You lose sight when you just focus
That I
on them
forgot.
whales, man. There's a whole other list of problems that they can go with.
I was so focused on space whales, I forgot about the time bridge.
Yep.
Bastard.
Hey, that's why I'm
Say
here,
it with
right?
love. I say it out of love.
That's why I'm here to bring this sort of stuff up and remind you of the horrors that they have the possibility of bringing at us. You got to prepare yourself, man.
I just don't want to deal with it.
I don't blame you. Neither do I. But hey, we gotta at least bring some fire to these piss ants, right?
Ugh, God.
As low
You just gave them
an
an idea. Like, you just gave them an idea. You know it's
They
coming.
didn't already have the idea. I mean, come on.
You're giving them a lot more credit than they deserve.
Who knows? It could be very much that.
Let's see.
So
I think it is.
another little. So this is something that kind of surprised me, right? I was not expecting. So Star Wars actor John Boyega laments Luke Skywalker's sequel trilogy story direction. Just the headline alone, I thought was like, oh, interesting. That you would be talking about somebody else's character besides your own and how that got botched. But I guess he's already run that course. So, yeah, off of banding into comics here, former Star Wars actor John Boyega, who portrayed the character Finn in Disney's much maligned sequel trilogy, recently voiced his disappointment with how the character of Luke Skywalker was handled. Boyega appears to be late to the party, as the overwhelming majority of Star Wars fans, including Mark Hamill himself, have expressed similar feelings.
He's about 5 years late.
A little bit. I still also question even Hamill. When it's like we've talked about this before. He
got paid off.
He was very vocal at first, but he's still showing up into Mandalorian, Book of Boba Fett, and it's like all the roads lead to that character, dude.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know what they've promised him. Or, I mean, I guess like
him
you
something.
Said, the paycheck must be good.
I mean, it's got to be, right? Like, there's no, like, you just don't stop. Like, you're a big enough guy to where, like, you shouldn't fear Disney. Like, you know what I mean? So something had to happen.
Nobody should be fearing any of these groups. I mean,
right?
Especially
like
if we want to give as much clearance to of all people, freaking Filoni, how he worked closely with George. Well, I mean, Hamill worked closely with George too in the early days of the original trilogy, so he would have just as much to say on his character, right?
Right.
So.
Well, that just goes back to like, you and I work in the same building, and I can know of you, but that doesn't mean I know who you are.
Right.
Right. So, I just find it's funny that John, like, he's now just coming out after, like, how long have these movies been out? Like, I've literally tried to block it out of my mind, so I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, how long have these movies been out? And you just now decide to, like, the mistreatment of this character. Like, where have you been, guy? Did you take whatever her name is, Daisy Ridley or Daisy, whatever her name is?
Yeah, Daisy Ridley.
Did you take, like, just a hiatus for, like, years on social media because you were bullied? And you just so happened to miss all this news?
So let's see. I mean, for taking into account, Force Awakens came out in 2015.
Oh, so only
it's
7
been
years ago.
6 7 years. But still, I mean, there was, other than Hamill, who was taking every opportunity he certainly could, and speaking out on his character treatment. Like, he kept saying, when he would he'd say when he read the scripts, he liked everybody else's role but his.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, he was the one, and it wasn't until, like, they didn't start, some of the actors didn't start taking some pot shots until Rise of Palpatine. Then there was, like, some interviews out there where they were finally, like, kind of speaking out a little bit during the PR, but not, 100%.
Yeah.
So, yeah, a little, and they were all, on board. So, I'm not it's kind of funny that now it's called, yeah. People got screwed, man.
I just don't understand why so... Yeah, continue, but, like, ugh.
Yeah, no, why so late? Boyega participated in an interview in Vanity Fair where he discussed nostalgia as a major driving factor in the initial fan excitement surrounding the sequel trilogy. The actual story, however, was anything like what fans were expecting or hoping for. Yes, I would agree with him on that. I would say I got, for myself, I got swept up with the idea, some of the nostalgia, what was presented in the original Force Awakens movie, because it was very much basically a New Hope, just with a new coat of paint. I got suckered in with some of it at first. And all I can do is also I can at least thank my buddy Death Morto. He was the one that, like I've said this before on our other streams. He was the one that said, when you see it, tell me if you catch it too, because it bugged the hell out of me. And I'm like, all right, I'll see what I run into. And yeah, the 1, 2, 3 mind trick.
Yeah.
And I just, it just kind of like snapped me out of it for a moment. I was like, oh, what the hell? Wait, you can't do that. Not even Luke did that.
Yeah.
And he was trained. You know? It just... So... I can at least say I had a bit of helping hand, but even then, like, me and my brother would go back and forth talking about it. It was just kind of like, yeah, so this is kind of an issue. That was kind of weird.
It's kind of like it's a different Luke, though. You know, it's a different Vader. It's a different Luke.
It was like, where was Luke? Like I kept
drinking titty milk.
Apparently, he's drinking titty milk on a freaking faraway island. It was just so funny because it's like, oh, there he is at the end of the movie. Really?
Right.
Like,
yeah.
I kept expecting him to show up during the fight on the super duper uber Star Destroyer.
It's a planet.
The Star Killer base. The Star Killer base.
Thank you. Don't call it a Death Star. Death Star only had like 300 plus levels.
Like I that was where I expected him to show up at least, especially with Han's death being there and stuff like that. Nothing. It's like, what? So yeah,
it's almost like these actors, like I'm not saying they're hurting for money, but it's like they're so hungry that Disney gives them table scraps. So, but they have to go along with what Disney wants, or they don't get their table scraps, and they're so hungry to have table scraps. Like almost
basically.
Like it's like, you know, we're gonna put you in this movie, and we're gonna pay you this amount of money, and it may be an obscene amount of money to you, but you have to go along with what we say, and if you don't, then we're gonna cancel you because we're Disney and we can do that. You know, and like to your point, like I think Hamill was fighting it off for a while there, but then he just mysteriously stopped, and it's like, well, why did you stop? You know, if any, and I've said this since day one. It dropped
off after like Last Jedi and stuff like that. Like there wasn't really as much that came out during Rise of Palpatine, probably because he couldn't really. His character was already dead.
But I
try and say and do this, like, well, what's done is done.
I said this before though. If there's anybody that could fight Disney, like it's Luke, because like you had George. Harrison didn't want anything to do with it. Harrison wanted to die, you know, after New Hope. Like so, but like if there's anybody that could have fought it and succeeded, it would have been Hamill. Hamill not only does he have a following, and did he have a following, he was like the one guy out of all of them that really, I think, was close to George. Like I don't know the relationships on a personal level, but I'm saying like he was the one that kind of I think held the torch. Like if I don't know if that makes sense, but I think he's the one guy that could have fought Disney and could have, you know, could he have destroyed them and that, like, probably not, maybe not. But again, like, he has a following. He has, like, he's got a lot of power, if that makes sense. And it just,
I mean,
I could be wrong. You say I'm wrong, but I'm just like, maybe I'm totally wrong. Maybe I'm just so old in my old age and in my ways that I want to believe that he could have made a difference, but
Emperor Doomsday, the titty milk killed me inside.
Yeah,
I can say it was after Rogue One. I tapped out from.
Do you want to know
from seeing these movies theatrically? Like after Rogue One, I'm like, no, thank you.
Yeah.
So I only heard about what happened in Solo, what happened in Rogue One, or not Rogue One. Sorry, Last Jedi, and Rise of Palpatine. I didn't watch them until way later when Riff Tracks made fun of them. That was then the only time I watched them.
If you wanted to know what the blue titty milk tastes like, it tastes like Skittles.
Interesting.
I don't know if you knew that or not. It's like a Skittles.
I was unaware of that. Thank you for informing me.
I just, that's what I'm here for.
Yeah,
you know,
I appreciate it.
You do a lot of the heavy lifting, so I just bring, what I can to the show.
So I'll always have some level of nostalgia for The Force Awakens. To a certain extent, there should have been a Stormtrooper rebellion. There's where they are Stormtroopers. And then to flesh out Luke's character a bit more, give him more moments of redemption, which I feel like was needed after 8. Last Jedi, the actor began. He then pointed out that the gravest and most unforgivable flaw of the sequel trilogy, the manner in which the original characters were handled. I feel like Star Wars fans needed more time with the old characters that we love so much. It just needed equal time, if anything. Have the new with the old interacting. Yeah, you could do the whole torch passing sort of thing. Fine. But again, yeah, treat the old characters with some goddamn respect, and at least you could have the equal shared moments for the new and for the old.
Yeah.
You don't have to necessarily like overly focus on the old, but give equal time. I don't think there would have been a problem there. Troubles began brewing for the J.J. Abrams-led Star Wars trilogy when fans were forced to wait until the final seconds of The Force Awakens for fan favorite Luke Skywalker to make an appearance. This hot on the heels of beloved nerf herder Han Solo being murdered by his own son, which that was a funny thing. I was expecting that.
You were?
I was expecting them to kill Han. I remember before I had gotten to go and see it, a coworker was telling me there's a really sad moment in it, and I'm like, let me guess, Han Solo dies, and she just kind of like just nodded. I was like, I knew it.
Is it who I think it is?
No, this was when the movie first came out, so I hadn't even been working with you yet.
Oh, okay. I was
wondering. Long before. So I just laughed. I was like, "Oh my god!" he finally got his wish
after
to kill off Han Solo after
40
all
years.
This time. After all this time, he finally got his wish. It was just to be expected. But I mean,
that was the caveat of him coming back.
George at least said, "No, we're not killing him.
Yeah,
we're keeping you around. You still got work to do, bitch."
Yeah, like they still have money to make off of you. No, that wasn't George. That wasn't George's. I think MO. But...
Is that the Skittles or not the Skittles that makes it more cursed for the titty milk? I'm guessing it makes it more cursed with the Skittles.
Oh, and curdled.
And curdled, yes.
Chewy. It's a wee bit chewy.
A little bit. The single combination ended up ruining chance fans of the character. It would have been until the second film trilogy where Luke and Leia were reacquainted again, which was handled poorly. That's being generous.
Understatement of the
and
year.
led to the former dying in the final act. And what's funny too is in it's during the whole Darth Caedus stuff. Luke essentially does that force projection and messes with his nephew basically.
But was it 100% how they portrayed it though?
No, no, because for one, Luke didn't die.
Right.
But he actually had some physical presence on him. Now that could have been. I don't know if that. Now I question it though sometimes because I don't know if it was that was the interpretation due to the abridged version of the book I was listening to, or if that was like what really happened. So sometimes I'm a little iffy on those details.
No.
But it sounded like that's what happened. And I'm like, dang, that's way cooler than what they actually did in the stupid movies. But I see where they got the idea.
So they did read the book, or they watched,
or they read a
video,
or they read a Wikipedia or something. Who knows? So Boyega's own troubles with Star Wars began a few years ago when he began throwing direct shade. Terminology. At Lucasfilm and Disney over the manner in which his character was handled. At one point, Boyega even agreed with a fan on Twitter who suggested that Disney should be embarrassed by the final film in the trilogy, Rise of Palpatine. So yeah, this was basically a twat. Things got worse from there. Only a few months later, Boyega sent a scathing rebuke to Disney during an interview with GQ where he said, "You guys knew what to do with Daisy Ridley. You knew what to do with Adam Driver. You knew what to do with these other people. But when it came to Kelly Marie Tran, when it came to John Boyega, you know effed all. So what do you want me to say?" I mean, where was that when you were first doing the movies? I mean, I'm sure you could have had some degree of input. Again, you know, everybody has their responsibilities in all this, right? Yeah, you can just go along with the flow, or you can at least try and, you know, speak up during production. And then when you're doing yeah, you could try and talk positively about the movie, but then also just kind of go, hey, I tried to give input and go, hey, couldn't we do more of this with my character? And they shined me on it. What can you say? But it's like after the fact, it's like, you seem spurned, man. But then I mean, a lot of people agree that, you know, Finn Boyega's character did get a bit of the shaft.
Do you think he did? You think I don't. So
I
it's really hard.
I think his character had a lot of potential from the first movie, but they again, just the way it ended, and it just went to shit.
So let's touch on that because there's not a singular sequel movie that I enjoyed, despite the fact that I watched them multiple times in theater, trying to understand just the dog waterness. But like, when you say potential, like, explain that to me because you're not the first person that I've heard this from. You're maybe yeah.
It felt like in at least the Force Awakens, mainly the Force Awakens. It felt like they were actually setting up his character for something a little more. Because like he was the one stepping up into action. He first was like the one that, you know, he has one of his fellow First Order trooper brothers die and leave that hand mark and stuff. But then he kind of gets contradicted when he's laughing and blowing them up as he's escaping. But kind of ignoring some of those little bits, it felt like they were kind of setting him up to kind of be I want to kind of the next Luke. Like he was definitely, because I mean he was the one kind of trying to step up into that role and trying to, like, he was the one that took the lightsaber, was ready to fight. We of course got the meme with the traitor trooper.
Yeah.
Shouting traitor. And it seemed like it was trying to set him up until the end of the movie when, of course, the lightsaber's not acting like proper lightsabers and he gets that cut down his back.
Yeah.
Like, it was thought that, you know, he was probably going to be the one, facing down Kylo there at the end. But instead, then he gets taken out of the fight, and then it's Rey, and it's stupid.
So I thought he was just trying to get in Rey's robes. Well, seriously, I thought that whole relationship was supposed to, you know.
There's those undercurrents too, especially like the second movie laid that on thick, and in the third movie when he's just shouting nothing but Rey the whole time.
You got a boyfriend? What, you got a cute boyfriend? Boyfriend got a boyfriend? Like.
Yeah, I'm talking about like things outside of the stupid stuff. I'm just talking about like the general, what seemed to have been getting set up for him, and like, oh, he's gonna be the new Jedi for this trilogy.
Yeah.
Or maybe both of them, both Rey and Finn were gonna be the Jedi. So it seemed like they were almost getting there to setting something up that could have been decent, but thanks to Rian Johnson, it was just dust in the wind, dude. Just a fart in the wind, man. So that's all it turned out to be.
Yeah.
And of course, no Star Wars article nowadays is complete without the original poster for Force Awakens and the Chinese poster where Finn is shrunken down into the corner there. Where he's a little more prominent and get shrunken down here.
Talk about racist, man. Why you got to put not going there.
That's China for you.
Oh yeah.
So he continued his rant by claiming, "What they want you to say is, I enjoyed being a part of it. It was a great experience. Nah. I'll take that deal when it's great. When it's a great experience. They gave all the nuance to Adam Drive."
Oh gosh.
What?
Probably the worst actor in all, like, just his character is the worst.
Nuance to Daisy Ridley and Adam Driver. Are you serious, man? Okay, now you've lost any credibility. Let's be honest. Daisy knows this. Adam knows this. Everybody knows. I'm not exposing anything. I mean, yeah, they were more the focus in the movies, but they didn't have nuance.
Apparently somebody believes they did.
Apparently Boyega does.
Do you think these actors are like the equivalent to, like, you remember like the young Disney actors and actors that like were with Disney for so many years and then go like become crazy, like Miley Cyrus, and Britney Spears. I don't know, all these different.
There's definitely something in the Hollywood water that just drives people up a freaking wall.
To say that they have nuance, maybe I don't know, he's part of it. Maybe he was a Disney kid.
I don't know. I just know that environment just seems to drive people insane.
Well, if you worked for Dave Filoni for more than a day, you'd probably come back home crazy too.
Yeah, probably.
You'd be like, Jay Hitman, I'm going to Salt Lake. No, you're not. You're going to sit in your room and not go down there.
Yeah. Later in January 2021, Boyega described his work on franchises like Star Wars as working in a luxury jail. Dramatic. That's being dramatic. While Boyega insists that he's still a diehard Star Wars fan, it's clear that he has no love for Disney's sequel trilogy storyline. Actor claimed that he's actively watching Star Wars, Obi-Wan Kenobi, and The Mandalorian. But it's hard to believe he's fully buried the hatchet with Disney and Lucasfilm, even if reports claim otherwise.
If there's a trilogy, will he come back, you think?
Possibly. He's probably going to have a few more...
Not after this article, he won't.
He's going to have a few more things in his contract going, no, we're going to make sure we do this and we do this.
We have to prep you for racial backlash.
Oh, God. Disney has been attempting to rectify the damage inflicted on classic characters by the sequel trilogy via indirect ways. Luke Skywalker made a triumphant return at the end of The Mandalorian's second season and would go on to play a role in the Book of Boba Fett. Not all fans are happy with the roles, but that's not surprising. But we still know where the road leads. Yes, you can give him this little shining moment of looking cool and everything, but we still know where this Luke heads to. He bums off to a freaking... He quits, gives up, and leads to an island sucking titty milk.
That tastes like Skittles.
It's not... It's not rectifying anything. It's maybe trying to like put a Band-Aid on it, but it's if anybody that's actually paying attention to this, it shows all the roads still leading to the sequel trilogy. Whether anybody people I know out there, they want to believe that anytime now they're gonna decanonize the sequel trilogy or whatever. Bull freaking shit.
No.
Because that would require Disney admitting they fucked up.
Well, I thought we read an article, maybe we talked about it a bit. There was talk that they were going to retcon 7, 8, and 9. But I think it was maybe just it could have just been like.
I think that was somebody being hopeful.
Yeah.
I forget which freaking article that could have been at this point. We've gone over so many different things at this point.
I could see the only thing I could see them doing is there's a better chance that they would with Ruin and Abrams because they're not Favreau or Filoni. But
right.
You could get somebody else that's worth their salt to do, like, if you do want to do another 3, which I'm praying they don't, because the sequels were like cemented their I don't know, like, if you do it, like, get somebody else better than Ruin. Get a guy that doesn't have the nickname Ruin, maybe. I'm just saying. Like, and I make the argument that I think his actual legal name is Ruin because everything he does is he ruins everything.
Yep.
Like, so, but yeah, like, I think about this, like, like, are we just biased because, like, we grew up with the original trilogy and, like, there was never a passing of the torch, if you will, and now that there is a passing of the torch, we just don't.
There was. It was called the EU.
Well, and, I'm talking about,
torch being passed to the likes of the new generation from, Ben Skywalker, the real Ben Skywalker, Jaina Solo. They were the ones that were essentially the ones carrying the torch of their family members.
I guess specifically, yes, that is true, the EU, but specifically, like, on film, if you will, like.
On film, no, there was not any real passing of the torch that we saw from Luke, Leia, and Han onto a new generation, other than the sequel trilogy that we unfortunately got.
But I was even okay with, like, I don't think I ever had any issues with, there's a book right now that the whole OG was talking about, is it Backlash? It's basically a book, it's with the Luke Skywalker that we should have gotten, basically, and that line of books. I think there's like 10 or 12 books. I haven't looked at it. Yes.
That final book series that they did before the buyout.
Yeah. So I never had an issue with that type of passing of the torch, but
that's what I mean. We got it out of that
because you know what, it was engaging and it was engaging. It was amazing and it was consistent and it didn't break continuity.
Exactly.
So
yeah. So basically, this is kind of Boyega's statements towards the handling of Luke Skywalker, his own character, and the sequel trilogy as a whole is shared by a majority of fans at this point. There's a reason why Disney hasn't even bothered to revisit the catastrophic future timeline they've created, remaining cemented in pre- and post-Return of the Jedi eras. The recent failure of Obi-Wan Kenobi series and the less than stellar reception to the upcoming woke property, Star Wars Andor, has essentially put the franchise on life support at this point. A large part of that can be directly attributed to the overt, purposefully mishandling and abuse of characters from the original trilogy. John Boyega knows it, Star Wars fans know it, and it's a guarantee that Lucasfilm knows it. I question if Lucasfilm really knows it or is willing to
just cares.
admit it or accept it or care. I'm sure a lot of it's going to go away. A lot of it will go away when we get Mandalorian Season 3 and the Ahsoka series. Everybody will be sucking on the tits of Disney Star Wars.
Yeah,
what do you want to bet?
Great. Oh, I mean,
the love will be in the air.
It's like they can do that though. It's like,
guess who's coming back for Ahsoka? He has blue skin and red eyes.
Shut up! Don't say it. F off.
Fake Thrawn. Fake Thrawn is coming back.
Duck yourself. You know that meme of I never watched The Office, and so I don't know who the character is, but Steve Carell's character, he's like, no, please God, no. No! You seen that
Right.
meme? Yeah, it's literally me
I
right
have.
now.
I have.
Yeah, literally me right now, dude. Don't touch Thrawn. Go, just... Ugh, don't touch
He's
Thrawn.
coming.
I hate you. Hate
I'm
Filoni.
just trying to prepare. I'm just trying to prepare you for the worst, man.
Listen, no, because this is now the second time during the show that, like, I forgot about the space bridge. I forgot about Thrawn. And now I'm just mad. That they have the stupidity to create this space bridge.
Good.
And the
Let the hate flow through.
and the I'm changing my avatar to Bane. Where's it at?
Peace is a lie.
I just don't stop it. Like, you already screwed him up in Rebels that I haven't even watched it. Who are they gonna? Oh, I know we're not talking about it. We're not gonna talk. We're gonna go on the next topic. We're not gonna talk about who they potentially have to play Thrawn. CGI.
We have talked about that before.
I blocked it out.
But I forget who the actor was at this point. I don't care. We'll see when we get to that road.
It's probably Filoni himself.
God.
What if I have a theory, okay, and not a Star Wars theory, right? But I have a theory. What if Filoni is like Star Wars version of Seth MacFarlane?
I mean, wait, what?
So is it Seth MacFarlane or Seth? Who's the guy that does Family Guy? Is it Seth MacFarlane?
Yeah, Seth MacFarlane. Yeah.
How he does every single character,
Right.
like almost
He
all.
he practically does everybody's voice. Yeah.
What if Filoni like dresses up as everybody that he's created?
Oh God.
What if he
God.
like? What if he's Ahsoka? What if he's Rex? What if he's everybody? What if he's the squirrel in the background during the fight scene with Mando and that one lady person? Was it Book of Mando? No, it wasn't. It was Mandalorian. Remember when he's fighting with the Beskar spear? Did you remember seeing the squirrel in the background by the tree? He's going after some nuts. Yeah, he's like eating nuts. You didn't see that? You did also.
I clearly blocked that out.
Well, I mean, that's fine. You also did not see the.
I didn't see the overweight Imperial. No.
You forgot. You didn't happen to see him either, and he took
the Obi-Wan trailer. No, I
took up 3/4 of the screen. No, what if he dressed up as what? What if he dressed up as
it was
a
so
squirrel?
hard. You had the chunky Inquisitor too, and the chunky
Listen,
Imperial.
That Inquisitor looked like Sylvester Stallone next to that imp. I don't want to hear it.
Looked like he had like a bee allergy and his face puffed up, and he didn't fit properly
Listen,
in the helmet.
he's bigger than Barris. Okay, I don't want to hear it. Lord Twinkie is not as big as that guy, so I don't want to hear it. No, but yeah, because
King Baconator.
Yeah, Lord Bard. What if he? Yeah, but because he's already been. Wasn't he a X-wing pilot or something? Wasn't he an X-wing pilot?
Filoni? Yeah.
Yeah. So what if? Yeah. What if he's like? What if he's just everybody he's ever created?
That wouldn't surprise me.
I mean, what happens if we get a live-action version of the Clone Wars and he dresses up as Savage Opress? Which is the dumbest name ever, by the way. The dumbest name.
Oh man, totally cool, totally manly.
What if he actually, Rosario Dawson or whatever her name is, what if she never actually played the role as Ahsoka? What if it's actually Favreau? I'm sorry, not Favreau. What if it's actually Filoni, but it's like a front because he doesn't want want people to think he's weird because he has this obsession with Ahsoka. And this isn't like me saying that I feel like it is, but like if you look at him, his facial expressions, and you listen to his tone when he talks about Ahsoka, it's like
we
a
went
giddy
over
schoolgirl.
that too.
Yeah, it's a giddy schoolgirl like it's not normal. I'm just saying that. So what if he actually is like Ahsoka?
He's a little overly in love with his own characters. Yes, I understand. Like
no, not just his characters. Like Ahsoka. it's very scary. It's very weird. It's
A little bit.
Mention Ahsoka. That's hard on.
Okay, okay, no more, please, no more. Last thing I'm gonna be having in my brain is that.
You're welcome. Ahsoka.
Well, you have anything else, or should we get into the review now?
Just the simple fact that I think he loves Ahsoka.
Yeah, I think we've thoroughly gone over that.
No, I don't have anymore. I was trying to postpone it as long as I could because I don't want to go over this episode. Trying to remember if I even. My new thing is I watch it Sunday night, or I watch it Saturday night. Yeah, I don't want to waste my days off. I don't want to do it throughout the week because I already get irritated at work, and then being irritated at work, then I have to watch this, and then I get even more irritated, and then I don't get to enjoy my night, and then I don't like doing it on Friday nights because then I have to watch this going into Saturday, and it's a day off, and so I doing it Sunday or Saturday. So I don't even, I gotta refresh my memory on Decommissioned is the... That's the problem with waiting until Sunday. Now I feel like you... Oh, no, I remember. Okay, I'm good. I remember it. It's still dog water.
Yeah, I watched it like a few days ago, so my brain's still kind of fresh on it a little bit.
If we did watch parties, we wouldn't have to do this.
Yeah, but like I said, it's so much more difficult to do just because it's... we would be the ones seeing it, and we wouldn't have, like... the audience in on it. We're not on screen to give like actual physical reactions, so it's kind of lost. As much as it would be much more easier to like, especially to do like a marathon of just getting through these stupid episodes, which maybe we might just freaking do. Just to get this over with.
I'm just saying because it sounds like Bad Batch 2 is coming now. Because it wasn't.
And we still have. Oh God, we still have 10 more episodes.
Yeah, and they get so much not better from here on out.
Oh, should we just do like next week? Just do like 5 of them or something?
What are you talking about? I will not make it off the show. I can't even get through one. I can't even get through one episode talking about it. Let alone my brain will be mush. Oh God! It's like we have. It's like 16.
4, 5. Yeah, 16 episodes.
We're on episode.
We're on episode 6.
No, I refuse. Won't do it. Not gonna do it.
You know what I'll do? I'll either ask Daviaso or I'll look online and see if there's just like episodes we could skip where they don't add anything.
Don't ask Daviaso because he's gonna tell you no, they're all good. I think I've heard him say there's like one bad episode. He didn't say it was a bad episode. He's like, there's an episode that you could probably not watch. But it's still a good episode, but you don't have... I don't know, I'm just saying, like, he's not the person you want to ask, because he's a Disney guy. Like, he liked Kenobi. Like, what are you doing?
Oh, okay, you've made your point, you're right.
Ask him. No, but I'm curious, ask him. Ask him, what, out of these 16 episodes, what are the most crucial episodes we have to watch to understand how Omega is a clone of Jango when she's a female and Jango is a male? Just wrecked your brain. I rest my case. I digress.
I'm looking up right because it was an auto fill-in for Google searches of Bad Batch episodes to skip. So I'm just kind of looking really quick to see what people are saying.
Yeah. Like, skip them all.
So somebody was saying 1, 2, 3, 7, 8, 9, 10. Oh, now you're 10, 11, 12. Skip 13, 14, 15.
Pretty much the whole season.
That's still the whole freaking season 3, dude.
Yeah, so he's like literally just watched 2 episodes.
Dang it! I was hoping to be able to skip some of these. Alright, well, on to this. Alright, I said, I had, for some of my notes here, I said, so it looks like they haven't left this version of Ord Mantell. For people that seem to be, quote, on the run, you'd think they'd be back out in space traveling to a new planet. That was part of their whole antsiness with the last episodes, right?
I'm pulling my notes
I'm
here.
only guessing this is probably correct, Emperor Doomsday. We probably do not need a second season of Bad Batch, but we're getting it anyways. This is my first time actually watching this series, so yeah, I'll say it's been an experience. I said, and Omega almost kills someone. Neat. But it seems she's trying to do a bit of target practice while even the not at danger patrons take some bets. Weak way, gonna weak way. Omega wanting to stop already, but Echo does make the very important point that she needs more consistency in hits than just 3 out of 12. Oof. So keep practicing, worm. And she quickly fires, this time hitting the hollow projector. Ooh. Blames the patrons. Again, Echo giving, advice. Still, about closing out distractions to make the hits. Wrecker does make the point that she's not exactly a natural. So, either she will need more than just this half of the episode to get better, and as episodes go on, she will get progressively better, or she'll be a marksman by the end of it. Which kind of happens. At least certainly the reaffirmation from the characters that are in this episode. That I was making fun of on the thumbnail for this for our episode. And then so Sid comes along to give the boys their new job for this episode. That's to capture a technical droid on a decommissioning base in Corellia. Interesting, the Corellians would have such a thing. At least to me, it just seemed like a weird, like Corellians. The Corellians, for the most part, last I remember in the EU, could be kind of, I don't want to say isolationist.
No,
but they were very proud of their own planet. They had a like it was kind of funny when even in some of the later books, Han having a bit of a nationalistic love for Corellia. I'm like, hell yeah,
patriot.
Exactly. But it just seemed like kind of a weird thing that they'd be the ones saddled with a decommissioning droid factory thing.
Yeah.
For me, Corellia, I always remember, particularly from Star Wars Galaxies when I played that game, and they kind of had like a couple of hub cities, but it was like mostly a big. It had a lot of beautiful spots to that planet that was fun to kind of explore, drive through. Kind of weirds me out when I see nothing but city, when I see a lot of city space on Corellia.
I miss Nar Shaddaa.
Well, and we'll in Sutor we'll kind of see
Corellia,
their version of Corellia in like chapter 3 towards the end of it.
Yeah.
So Sid makes it clear that Hunter and his crew are her bitch now. So get to work.
Yeah.
Also, Sid makes the obvious statement that any one of the clones teaching Omega should have recognized is she needs more strength. But Sid shows off quickly, firing at the center target and kicks them out of the bar. How nobody noticed it, I don't know. I said, they pulling a Han Solo trick, I see. reference? Old trick. So the Imperials didn't know, but Boba did. So, well, whatever. They were basically doing that whole attached to the ship thing and piggybacking off of it. Excuse me. Omega asks about the brain droids, and Echo explains their lethality during the actual war, and the point is made that now that the Empire is still using clones, the valuable intel on how to defeat the clone soldiers is very valuable. I use that word a little too many times. Then we now seem to learn that of all things, Wrecker has a thing about height. Huh. You'd think the Kaminoans would have made sure fears like that would have been either trained out of them, or if it's genetic.
Because they only live like however many hundreds of feet above the water. Like,
yeah, they're pretty up there. And they've made drop. And in the first or second episode, they were doing like a night drop into the jungle and shit. Oh wait, no, they landed. Sorry, my bad. They landed.
Like, again, I remember playing, Battlefield and some of the older games, and it seemed like Kamino was always portrayed as a planet that, I want to say volatile is probably the right word, but like not the most probably pleasant. It's kind of like the equivalent of like, what's one of the states? It's like Seattle, where it's always rainy and unpleasant and just sucks. Like, heights. Of all the things, I don't like heights. Like, you're supposed to be an elite group of commandos, and you are afraid of heights.
It seemed like a little bit of a weird thing.
It's like Dumbo being scared of a mouse.
Yep. So all them droids and parts getting the Terminator 2 treatment. Wrecker seems to certainly be grumbling this episode as he ends up needing to be the lookout and again having to climb up someplace. Just so happens that there be only one droid left. Just the one, of course. It had to be just the one. Droid left at the tactical, and it's just stolen. Awesome. Let me guess. Another early resistance fighter or some such nonsense. Rafa and Trace. I feel like I should know who these characters are, but I am drawing a complete blank at the moment.
I don't know who they are.
I think
Rafa.
it's one of the girls with the goofy side head shape.
Skrillex?
I think it. I said Rafa? I think it was. Manages to convince Omega to let her guard down, and now the chaos ensues. Because she accidentally lets the bow off and then shoots and kaboom. What are you doing?
What? Oh, I'm hitting something because I'm irritated.
Oh, okay.
I'm hitting my pillow on this floor because I'm irritated with this episode so much.
What was a pretty successful stealth mission is now compromised thanks to a hothead going for the kid's weapon and causing her to let go of the bolt. Maybe you should use a regular bow. You want to fire off?
Yeah. Yeah, okay, so I said to our left we have Omega in her natural habitat. Weapons proficiency training must have gone bad for her. All I hear is Townie from Waterboy, you can do it! Gambling over the child, nice thing to teach the youngsters. To use the word consistent, you must know what it means, which you don't.
Ouch.
I was like, swing and a miss. Echo really pushing this weapons proficiency training. I'm pretty sure it was Echo, but really pushing this weapons proficiency training with Omega. Why a bow? Question mark. Sid briefs the squad about the new mission. Hunter hasn't decided to work for Sid. Looks like Sid already did. Sid giving Omega archery lessons now. She's faster than the Green Arrow. Releasing these arrows. It's shocking how fast she is.
She's a champion.
I said your growing sucks. I forget what I was trying to reference there, but I was like, where do I go? Oh, so, that's what I said. Your growing sucks, and I said so does the upside down triangle ship. And then I think we were on the same page. I said taking a play out of ESBA, Empire Strikes Back. Which again, can we just talk about that? Like how this maneuver worked for
Han.
For Han, but
right.
I think it's just a perfect example of I don't know if Filoni was
he was show running this.
Show running it. Yeah, I just want to do my due diligence before I make this comment. But he's a trash panda, as I said before.
Yeah.
He's he just steals stuff and makes it his own and calls it he steals and then calls it his own. And I just whenever I hear his name, I think if you type in trash, like Trash Panda. Actually, it's funny if you type in
picture of him.
It is with a raccoon body. It's funny. Omega asking why tactical droids are more important than normal droids. They're tactical, duh. Tactical droids hold the key to eliminating clones, ? Droids guarding droids, shut me down. And again, I put Ricker afraid of heights, ? Hunter directing the team to do things. Omega draws the short end of the stick again. Out here, out here just stunning people. The droid has been located, ... in pieces. And then I'll end it here because I think this is where you ended it. But I just put Omega and Rafa showdown. Well, I'll go one more. I was like, Omega getting tired. Should have worked on conditioning over weapons proficiency.
Well, it's not like she would have taken her. It would take her a lot more time to get weapons proficient with a bow like that than just however hours they had in between that. It's not
even a bow though. Is it really? I mean, it looks like a bow, but is it technically you're not you don't have a freaking quiver?
It's a weird energy bow. It's weird that it requires the same sort of kinetic energy that a regular bow needs.
It's like Filoni.
Fire.
Pacifist Filoni played a level of Gears of War.
They've had these stupid bows since Clone Wars with the Night Sisters. They had these electric-looking bows. I had to look it up just to be sure.
I'm good on you because I didn't, and I wasn't going to.
I see, other than knowing that they had of course the Wookiee crossbows, which even that is still a gun. I was like,
it's a riffle.
Whatever.
It's not even a crossbow.
Whatever.
Don't defend these bows.
No, Lucas created the thing, so
Well, the Wookiee bowcaster.
The Wookiee
yes.
Bowcaster.
Yeah, yes,
not
bowcaster.
Crossbow,
Yes.
Bowcaster. Thank you.
Yes.
Anyway, I was looking up to see. Okay, have bow and arrows, regular bow and arrows, existed in Star Wars? Because my brain was had they? I was up early, so I'll blame tired brain. Because I forgot about the Ewoks. I forgot about the Ewoks and them using bows and arrows in Return of the Jedi. I forgot.
Yeah.
So I was reminded that, oh, okay, because I was going to make a big point in my notes about it, but I didn't need to because I looked it up really quick, and thankfully I did. So that's again where I had the comment, why didn't they just use a regular freaking bow? But that's how I learned about the energy bows and even the Night Sisters using their version of the Night Sisters, I should say. Their version of the Night Sisters use these electric style bows. And again,
Filoni
it's
creation.
why would they need the same kind of force or strength and stuff to shoot a bow, and the
Did it explain
energy
why?
bolt in the same way? Because it wouldn't. I wouldn't think it'd be using the same rules just because it's.
Did it explain it? Because I don't understand the physics behind it.
I didn't bother to go in. I'm only now bringing up this point. I didn't think of it then. Now I am.
Neither did Filoni when he put this, apparently created this energy bow with the Night Sisters, and now this one and this. Physically, the physics don't make any sense. Like, it's. You don't have a quiver. You don't have an actual arrow.
No, you don't have that. I mean, where does the ammunition come from?
Are you? And there's this invisible like laser string that. Oh, it's so stupid. Does this laser become solid and then that becomes a string that you pull back? Like,
well,
it's a laser.
She was pulling it back, so it's not.
There's no, but yet when you look at it though, there is no string. There is no like bowstring, if that's what you call it. There, like, it's all stupid. Makes no sense. You shouldn't need muscle. I might. Where's my cyanide? Do you see why it's hitting this pillow?
Yeah, I can see why now.
I don't know how far you. I think were you talking about Rafa?
Yeah, I mentioned her.
The second portion of my notes start with Rafa, so I'll let you pick up, and then we'll talk about stupid Rafa.
Okay. So then, when Hunter tries to make claims to the tactical droid head, that now means Trace, the other girl, is gonna bounce out of there while the Bad Batch is dealing with the droid cops. Now the chase for the droid head continues on as they play hot potato for a moment. With some quick movements from Omega, she does manage to maneuver and swipes the droid head. And so this is where I just kind of, I think I go into prediction territory here. I say, I can't help but stop and think that despite them having this job, a couple of things may happen. These two, Rafa and Trace, are going to have some kind of story mission of their own. The Bad Batch will let the two take the droid head. Or it's Sid that sent these two groups out to do the same job to see who comes back with it first. Or maybe a third. Bad Batch just gets completely shown up by these two girls and no droid part for them.
Well, I mean, they are girls.
I was right with the first one, as I later learned.
Yeah.
Essentially. So now I'm back to it. Wrecker is now the guy that needs to help pull a Jurassic Park and restarting the power for the whole system. But a chasm stands between him and the junction box. He does make it, but of course he has to hit his head in the process, looking like a dum-dum. Thanks to the sudden restart, Omega gets trapped under some droid parts, losing hold of the droid head, and now it's taken from her, of course. Seems that knock on the noggin is stirring with Wrecker's already problem brain, because he was starting to recite the same stuff Crosshair was of being a good soldier and soldiers follow orders and yada yada yada. The programming had apparently kicked in for his brain. Hunter tries to question why Rafa needs the tactical droid, and she spits out, "It's none of his business, clone."
Rude.
It's derogatory. I mean, gee. It's like it's a slur or something. My word.
It's not very inclusive of Disney and Filoni.
Right?
Say clone. That's kind of...
Clones are people too, you know.
Yeah, they got feelings and all that kind of stuff.
I said, wow. Hear the venom there. How dare you, lady?
Scorpion woman.
Trace, just as she's about to escape, seems to stop to see Omega about to die. Let me guess. At the last moment, she's gonna save her. Maybe one of the batch, but I'm guessing not them. I was partly wrong. Hearing the distress call, Hunter swings into action to help Omega and Rafa demands to know who put him in charge. The fact that he's Spec Ops soldier? Why would your dopey ass be in charge of anything more than cleaning toilets? You like that one, huh?
So what do you think they call toilets in Star Wars?
Refreshers.
Refreshers, yes.
I think that was it.
Yeah, that's funny.
Rafa's and his plan worked. He took out the rest of the droids. Rafa screeching about Hunter almost getting her killed. Oh no, that could have been horrible. I said, well, I was wrong. It was with dual effort of Trace and Hunter that do save Omega, but after he takes out the droids and provides the man muscle, pull up Omega, holding the droid leg for the reach. You wanna fire off some?
Yeah. So I ended up on. Where did I leave off on? Okay, here we go. Rafa. Okay, so Omega getting tired, should have worked on conditioning over weapons proficiency. Rafa, that was rude. Security breach, now you've done it. Rafa blaming Omega. Rafa taking Omega to grab it. Or Rafa talking to Omega grab a weapon when she had one. Yeah, I don't maybe. Oh yeah, because she had a weapon and Rafa took it. Yeah, so that's what I was talking about. Rafa saying get a weapon, and Omega's like, her telling her to grab a weapon, and she's like, I did have one. Rafa dips out. Aggressive negotiations take place. Hunter on the move for the head. Nice one, Hunter. Put Omega on the hunt for the droid, and she's got it. Wrecker, mind the gap. I mean your inhibitor. I mean head. We see the inhibitor chip doing its job, question mark. Rafa now has the head. Droid smokes Wrecker. Hunter and the thief. I said thief. I didn't know, like you said Trace. I didn't know what the name was. I couldn't tell. So I was just saying thief. So Hunter and the thief have a...
I had to turn on the subtitles to get their names because I'm like, wait, what are their names?
I just
turned
gonna
on
say
the subtitles and it got the answers for me.
I just named them Skrillex and Trey Songs. Skrillex and Trey Songs is what I think I named them, because the one Rafa looks like Skrillex and I think the other person's name is Trey or Trace or something like that. Reminds me of Trey Songs. I don't know. Don't ask me why. Hunter and I think it's Rafa. I'll just say thief. Have a lovely conversation while it's dodging blaster fire. Omega is about to die. Rafa having a change of heart, question mark. Taking out the support post. That's a good trick. Well, it sounded good. Rafa not happy with Hunter, almost getting them killed. Rafa attempts to save Omega from the fiery chasm. Hunter swinging in like Tarzan takes out the droids. Thanks Thief for saving Omega. Reinforcements are on the way. I'll let you go and then I'll finish up.
Alright. Rafa drops in to make a lame quip and being snarky as shit. Shut up, lady. But she's
a lot
demanding...
better notes than I do.
I'm not. I'm just. This is what comes. This is what comes to mind.
Yeah, but they're better.
I'm not trying to be better or anything. What are you doing? You're sniffing something.
What?
It sounds like you're sniffing something. Oh.
No, my mic's in my beard.
Oh.
that's why. I'm gonna fix it. It gets under my beard, and I'm trying to move it out. I don't have the my wireless earbuds because last time I said I had my wireless earbuds in, you said it sounded like I was talking in a toilet.
Well, because I think it wasn't picking up off of the correct microphone.
Yeah. So I took
so you needed to change it in your settings probably.
Well, I'm not that smart,
anyway.
so I got the wired headphones.
Let's see. But she's demanding they have claim over the droid head, while Hunter makes it clear they need to get out of there. Although he's better than me because I'd clock the one girl, take the droid head, and leave them for the droid cops. But I'm a dick, and I follow the way of the Sith. Seems Wrecker is finally feeling those same effects that old Crosshair was having to endure. What will become of the big guy? Stupid shtick between I'm guessing they are sisters. Good God, someone shoot them, please.
Please, both.
Even though of all the times they make Tech out to be the super brain, this one time he isn't the first one prepping the droid brain to use for a distraction, or even Echo with his ability of getting inside systems and all that. No, Trace, fine, fuck off, show. Seems Wrecker is back on his feet and falls from the sky to start doing some droid damage. Apparently his antics is something Rafa likes. Okay. So after some quick work, they manage to activate the battle droids and super battle droids to start fighting the droid cops. They start to make their escape. It seems Tech was sneaky with what he was doing, so I was perhaps wrong. He had like some code cylinder plugged in the top of the droid too. So I kind of overlooked at first when it was happening, but then once he's like, "Hey, I got this," I was like, "Oh." Oh, look at that. Omega manages to find her bow and arrow on their way out. Oh, convenient. Trace gets shot down, but not damaged. Now there goes the droid brain. Retro. And it's already a crack shot now. This is like Trace complimenting Omega on some shot. And she's like, "Wow, you're a crack shot," or whatever. I'm like, there it is. I said, so they're just gonna leave the the battle droids and super battle droids running amok? Lovely. They didn't shut them down or anything before they left. They just let those droids run amok. Lovely. I said, and this is where I kind of come to realization. Oh God, they have the stupid haircuts. Christ. It's because they finally took off their helmets. You got whatever those things were, and I was like, it's those two from the Ahsoka episodes I skipped from the Clone Wars season 7. No.
Oh, now I'm trying to remember.
Well, so I skipped the later 2 episodes of first. I watched part of the first where those two get introduced, and I'm like, oh God. They got the stupid haircuts. They're obnoxious as hell. I'm out. So I didn't even watch Ahsoka's 3 episodes that they gave her. And I after the Bad Batch episodes that they had introducing this crew in the Clone Wars, they had 3 Ahsoka episodes. I skipped those. I skipped the other 2.5, I'll say.
Okay.
And then I watched the last 2 episodes of the Clone Wars season 7 just to see what they did.
Okay.
Those 2 were introduced in Ahsoka's episodes, which apparently they did a lot of changes to. Anyway, so it seems Omega hit it off with the crappy haircut sisters, even after the little sob moment of them saying the information they were trying to get it was for people fighting the Empire, but give her encouragement to keep working at the bow. She's already a great shot. Who needs work? freaking called it.
Yeah.
A sob story, and they give over the data. Ha! But wait, did Tech make even a second copy for themselves, or was
Probably
that
not.
it?
Probably not.
And that was probably it. But hey, the randos said maybe they weren't the same as clones then, because she was saying that she was again being condescending to them. But even Hunter makes the point it was easier being soldiers than this. Rafa plays Captain Obvious about one way or another. You pick sides. No shit, Sherlock. So Rafa and Trace were working for someone too, and I'm going to take a guess.
What do you think?
It's either Bail Organa, Ahsoka, or maybe even Rex.
Really? Those are what you thought?
Well, mainly Ahsoka and Bail. Because, I mean, you don't see who the hologram is. You just see, a portion of them.
Yeah.
Of whoever it is. My main thoughts were Ahsoka because that's the last person I knew they had contact with.
Yeah.
But like I said, I didn't watch the latter episodes, so I don't know. Maybe even it could have been Bo-Katan.
Yeah.
Maybe. But yeah, those were like the three people that came to mind because I know the next episode, because it's Daviaso's favorite apparently, has Rex in the episode.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, maybe it's alluding to that, but I don't know. But she tells this contact where to find these rogue clones, that they just got help from but they just got help from acquiring the data. I said, I guess next episode we will find out what happened with Sid's response to them not getting the data, or did. Dumbasses. That's the end of my notes.
Yeah, I'll wrap up mine here. So I just put reinforcements are on the way. What a great Echo joke. They need a diversion, and the head and whatever. They need a diversion, and dropping the head can help. I don't know what I wrote there. I was probably pissed. I was like, an army? Where? Yes, the Clankers. Wrecker's still dealing with his headache. He's back, or you think. Tactical droids activate. All battle droids. Move out, get gone. Shucks, the tactical droid lost his head. Omega mastered archery in one episode, and they're off. And I said, she
female.
Yeah, I said she has a Skrillex haircut. Their contact, their contact. You say, I can only guess who. Omega with the lovely sentiment. Now they're all friends. Hunter giving over the data rod to the thieves, or friends, ? Both depart their separate ways. I had put, Saw, Bail, Rex, Maul, is that you? ? The end.
I want to get through this series. I just want it to be over with. I made a huge mistake.
Yeah, it's not.
Sorry.
It's...
I'm being dramatic.
Yeah, it's great. Gets better. If you really like this episode, I just can't wait for you to.
No, it's like bringing in those two dipshits. I'm just like, oh god.
I'm just waiting for Cad Bane, man. You think this is bad? You wait for Bane. And Finnick. It gets better, man.
Yeah, I figured that wasn't her only episode.
Oh no, man. She's a new Boba. What are you talking about?
That's right.
She's actually she could be a clone of
Oh,
Jango.
shut up.
I mean, hey, they want her to be the new Boba. Maybe she is clone of Jango. Would explain how, Omega's a clone of Jango when she's female. Yeah, I don't know which episode's worse. It's hard to say out of the 5, 6 we've done? 6? Ugh.
It's like the Mandalorian. It's just like they're just. I wouldn't say that there's at least. Again, I only know so much about this time frame of Star Wars.
Filoni's time frame.
Well, just in general, you know, from the EU perspective.
Oh yeah.
And I mean, this is their inserts to everything. So.
Their poor interpretation of what's going on in this timeline.
Right, in this timeline. Yeah. So, I don't know all the stuff that's really being screwed with and messed up and screwed with the continuity. So, I can't speak from that. All I can really just say is that, just from an outside perspective or whatever, or normie perspective, whatever you want to say, I'm just kind of looking at it, I was like, they're okay. They're not.
I'd be hard pressed to. Yeah.
They're not outstanding or anything like that. It's at least been a little easier to get through these episodes than it was to get through Kenobi, but that's only natural. Hell, it's even easier to get through these episodes than it was to get through freaking Book of Boba Fett, because those were having their own set of problems. Even though I'm not even that, I wasn't as connected to Boba as I do feel I have, or at least have more of a fan favorite to Kenobi.
Yeah.
So, but it was still difficult to get through those Boba Fett episodes. It's like, dude, you guys are screwing with this character royally.
Yeah.
And with these, it's just like, I don't know. It feels like, because the way you look at it is that, okay, everything's been scrapped from the table, right? As we say, they threw the EU in the garbage.
Yeah.
They tossed it out, and occasionally the trash panda goes in looking for scraps.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the way this is like they are technically dealing with a blank slate. Not in actuality, but to their canon, it's a blank slate. And so currently, for all intents and purposes, it's just setting up their canon, their lore for this time frame, and it's just the stories are just just very. It's just I'm not that too much of wanting to eat a bullet, but it's just like just okay. All I can say is that they're just okay.
I can't even say they're okay. Like, if you could explain to me, if you could help me logic it.
Maybe okay, because I mean we have a whole. How many pages did I have? I don't know how many pages I packed today. I packed like 3 or 4 pages of all my notes on this particular episode. And even then, it wasn't like dealing with a lot of lore and stuff that I would necessarily know. But let's see, I had about 1 full page, 2. Yeah, I'd say I had 3 pages in total.
Yeah.
Just because I use my notepad on my computer, so
yeah.
And I save it all in the same file, so all the other previous episodes I have on there too. So I mean, basically 3 pages worth of notes and like it was, we were calling out the stupid parts. So I guess I'm being kind by saying it's okay when really it's just another dumpster fire. Just the dumpster fire is not as out of control as the others.
If you could explain to me,
okay,
not you personally, but like if someone could explain to me just how like what the like, and again I gotta be careful because like I've watched this season, but like explain the role of Omega and explain like. I'm not trying to get hung up on the simple fact that like she's a female that is a clone of Jango and Jango's a man, but that's a big part of it. Like that doesn't make sense. And then you bring in like, well, they could have done some type of weird cross genetic. Like at the end of the day, like it still doesn't make sense because Jango, like his DNA. If you cloned Jango, obviously you're cloning his DNA. He's a male, and then to say that she is a clone of Jango, it is. doesn't make sense. Like there's nothing, there's no argument under the sun that you can make to justify, unless there's some type of weird form of genetic mutation, or not even mutation, but genetic like cloning that I don't have, that I've not been told, or it's just common sense. If you clone a male, you're gonna get a male, because cloning is is the exact replication from a DNA perspective, right? So there's just a lot of stuff that doesn't make sense. Like I don't understand that part. The inhibitor chip is absolutely stupid. That was never canon. That was never a thing, right? So that whole thing, I just haven't, and I've had issues with this, and we've talked about even before we started doing this show. Like I've had issues with the inhibitor chip. Like it makes no sense. It was never a thing. It was always a written law. It was always written into a law. It's a command, if you will, like a lawful order, right?
Right.
So that doesn't make any sense. And so like when you hear like, oh, there my head hurts, and good soldiers follow orders, and I'm scared of, all the, like it's just stupid. You hit your head, and now that you hitting your head now triggers your inhibitor chip that was defective to not work, like, so, and it's just a lot of so I have the issues I have. One, obviously, like I just have a hard time understanding like this point in time in and maybe I need to go back and study this within the EU, because I think I'm a lot like you. There's a lot of stuff I don't necessarily know about this time frame, but I think you and I still know enough about Star Wars to where we can be like, this smells and this doesn't smell good.
No, well that's just it. Like I said, that's like why we're still pointing out a bunch of the bullshit that's being presented in these episodes. We're at least looking at it from I'd like to say we're looking at it from the story perspective of just what they're giving us, and it's like, no, you still have holes in all this. The only thing I could think for Omega is that she's kind of I'm trying to think of how it's kind of like
someone's gonna say that she's non-binary, and that doesn't make any sense because Jango was a man. Jango was not non-binary. Jango was not like. He was a man. Well, I'm just saying, like, there's nothing you can say. Well, she's non-binary. Like, non-binary.
Well, it's been very made clear that she's a she.
Yes.
A girl. They've all made that very clear.
So you can't use that argument because that's what you identify with. Like, if you want to identify as a razor mouse, then identify as. I'm just saying, there's like that argument holds no water. Why she's non-binary? That doesn't make sense because Jango is a man. You would have to go back and prove to me that Jango was a robot or was, it doesn't make sense. So like what is the point of this? Like, unless I'm misunderstanding her role, unless I have misunderstood that maybe she's not, like, if she's not a clone of Jango, but even like Daviasa said, like, yeah, she's the last clone of Jango. So you making that point, like you stating, using those specific words, she is a clone of Jango, is the lack of dualtishness in that statement. Like,
yeah, we've gone over that.
We have, yes. So, but it's just a lot. It's the gaps in the story. It's the just
basically the way I kind of figure it for Omega. The at least one point of her character is that think of like Doctor. I don't know if you watch Doctor Who, but like you have the companions that come into the Doctor's life. They're essentially it's essentially like, so now you have a fresh perspective on this world, and Omega's kind of, I think, supposed to be the stand-in for the audience of seeing the Star Wars universe from a new perspective, like how we had her freaking out over dirt.
Well,
so she's always asking all these questions about what's going on and stuff like that. So that's kind of like, so like you asked, what is her point? I think that's kind of, at least that's what I'm guessing, is part of the point of her character for some of these episodes, where she's just trying to kind of get a grasp of what's going on in this timeline in particular and in the universe as a whole.
Well, and like that I mean, could definitely be a way to look at it, but then you need to have enough intelligence to not state that she is a clone of Jango Fett.
Well,
Jango Fett was a.
Well, that's not part of what I'm talking about.
No, I know that, but that's what
you're really wanting to go on that one though.
Well, because yeah, if you're gonna have the audacity to say that this character is the last clone, or I think I said the first clone or the last clone, which wrecked your brain. But if you're gonna go around saying that you are this is the last clone of Jango Fett and she's a female, you have to explain your position, because that is. I think if you were to look up the dumbest sentence in Webster Dictionary, that would probably be number 2 on the list. I get I'm hung up on it, but that's one I can't get past that because it's so stupid.
Right.
And then, it's so like if. But,
well, that was
so
part
you
of
say,
that was part of my questioning of this whole series too. Like, how do you have a female clone? It can't be a clone anymore. It's a whole new genetic being, basically. And we're kind of getting, at least from the Kaminoans that we've gotten some insight to, they've been kind of insinuating maybe that they were mucking around more with the genetics than what they were supposed to, because also they're running out of original materials supposedly. So they were. But I'm still hard.
You're gonna have things. You're gonna have to try harder though, to. I don't know. To if that's gonna be the argument, that's you don't get a female from a male. Like you don't there's nothing that you in my mind there's nothing you can do. There's no playing around that you can't change a male to a female.
No,
can't do it.
No, you can't.
So and again, especially
when it involves cloning, because you are meant to be making an exact duplicate of the original.
You don't get to bake a cake, and then you don't get to bake a chocolate cake.
The whole thing of cloning is
turn it into
copy of a copy.
Yeah, and then turn it into an apple pie. Like, where the hell did the apples come from if you were baking if you're using chocolate? Last time I checked, chocolate doesn't have sex with other chocolate and produce an apple. Like, two people don't have sex and, have a dinosaur. Like, it doesn't, you know what I mean? So, again, this is the biggest issue I have with is that, can it be viewed as trivial? You might, not you, but people might think so, listeners might think so, but you still you have to answer the question. If they're going to take this stance, if they're going to say that she is a clone of Jango Fett, you need to back up and explain how the hell you possibly think that, because it goes against everything. It goes against science.
Let me take a guess here. Even throughout the whole 16 episodes, they never actually explain that, do they?
No, I don't. Not that I recall. I don't recall that they did.
Not shocking at all.
Which is very irritating. So.
So even though they kind of were trying to allude to certain things going on with the cloning aspects, they never actually answer anything.
No, not that I remember. I don't remember them implicitly answering or explaining how she is a clone of Jango.
Imagine my shock.
because then they have to actually but they're going to shoot themselves in the foot, because they hold their certain beliefs that they hold, and if they argue that or if they explain it, then they're going to get caught. Then it shows how if they were to try to explain that, it wouldn't make any sense, and then they would look like they don't know, and then they would have to go against what they believe. Yeah, she's not, what, I'm not trying to, I'm just saying, if they were to come out and try to defend, there's no defending you can do, because it goes against science. You would like to try to explain how she's a female clone of a male, goes against science. Again, there might be some genetic cloning that I don't know, but I know that, if you clone a male, you're going to get a male. That's 100%. So if they try to defend it, then they would be seen as believing in just ridiculousness. I don't know, man.
You'd have to really come up with some crazy freaking, I don't know. You'd have to be one hell of a freaking salesman on this one to be like, yes, this is totally possible with X, Y, and Z techniques that we implemented to make this possible. That'd be
It doesn't, and it has nothing to do with identity politics. It has nothing to do with that. I mean, this is black and white. You're saying that she is a clone of a male. So explain to me how you clone a male and get a female. Again, this has nothing to do with identity politics. This has nothing to do with identify as this, that, or X chromosomes and Y chromosomes. It has nothing to do with that. It has to do with the fact that you cloned a male and you got a female. And now you're marketing this character as a clone of a male. Because we know, evidentially, right, Django is a guy.
Well, and is like Omega?
Or I'm wrong. Maybe he wasn't. Maybe he was.
Or is Omega supposed to be like their female character that's supposed to take over for Boba?
It doesn't matter though, because they marketed her as the last clone of Django. I've heard multiple people said that, and even with the shit within the show. Yes, she's the last clone.
They decommissioned the clone.
Yes, yeah, essentially, she's the last clone of Django, and it doesn't matter how deteriorated the DNA is or whatnot. It doesn't matter. Like, again, because you don't get a female from a male, so that's the biggest issue. Like, they're like, well, you know, you can be whatever you want to be. You can think that you're whatever you want to be, but that doesn't negate science. It doesn't. You can think that.
Well, remember,
if you think that, yeah.
Star Wars is science fiction fantasy.
I get it, but again, like, it's just.
No, you at least need some level of explanations for certain things.
Just tell me I'm wrong. Just tell me.
No,
like you're wrong. You can get an apple from a male.
I can't say you're wrong.
We're gonna clone Mr. Insect, and we're gonna get a poodle from him. Because he's a man, and you know, it just doesn't make sense. So I think that's the biggest. And the other argument somebody can make is like, well, you're letting that cloud your judgment. You're letting you're letting your hate flow through you, and it's like, yeah. Have you read the Sith code? Like, peace is a lie. So, I think that is something that, like, that is my biggest issue with it, and it does. But again, like, even though it's an issue, I can still see, like, I don't want to say nitpick, but I can see the other issues with it. And a lot of it is nitpicking, and that's fine. Everybody's a critic. My goodness, Star Wars Theory, every other video he does, he's critiquing something or he's giving his opinion, and that's fine. He can do it. So can we. So a lot of it might be nitpicking, but at the core of us doing this, like, I think we're addressing the major issues. And then we're nitpicking, like, you know, this guy, like, you can do it, you know, Townie from Waterboy, who was, you know, Rob Schneider. I should have put Rob Schneider. People might not know who Townie was, but. Again, I could be wrong. Maybe I'm just an old fart in my old age and biased, but, like, there's a lot of issues with. Filoni and Favreau. Put more of the blame on Filoni because he, you know, there's no excuse. Like, Kennedy has no excuse. Filoni has no excuse. Like, you can create, like, you have the freedom to create what you want to create, I guess. But to sit there and say, I drew inspiration from George and I'm carrying on George's legacy, and then to produce this as a slap in George's face because George himself has said in interviews, I don't think he necessarily agrees with what has been done with his creation. So to sit there and say, yeah, I draw inspiration, and George did this for me, and George did that for me, and I had spent 12 years of my life learning from this man, and then create this stuff it just makes no sense. It's like wiping before you crap. It makes no sense. It really doesn't. And if you did, and if you did care about his legacy, and if you did want to, you know, carry on the torch and all this and that, why not actually take the stuff that he left, Bob, and even if you don't agree with it, at least take what he wrote and then adapt it, or you know what I mean, or use it as a, can't believe I'm saying this, as maybe a blueprint to create something that maybe would. I'll say this, has there been anything that George has created that has not been successful or has not sold? Don't worry, I'll wait.
Oh, that was like a commercial failure?
No, just anything that George has created within Star Wars that was not successful, relatively speaking, on a consistent scale.
Star Wars, I mean, nothing that I can. I mean, for all 6 movies
yeah.
of his, maybe people had problems, but I mean,
right.
For the most
but
part,
generally speaking,
they got their fan base. They got they made money.
So is it safe to say what he has created has been successful and is the reason why it has lived on this long?
Yeah.
So you and I have had conversations behind, I think, closed doors about like maybe not necessarily agreeing with some of the stuff that he left Iger, like the midichlorian stuff I think we've talked about and whatnot, but would it be safe to say that if he was successful with all this stuff, could he have been successful with the stuff that he left Iger and Disney? And if that's the case, why not? If you care and want to honor his legacy and everything, why not take that and adapt it? And you know what I mean? Yeah. But you not doing that, and because you're so focused on wanting to create your own thing, and I get that. I agree. You want to create your thing, that's fine. But you have taken it. Star Wars stopped at Episode 3. 6, however you, I mean, technically, like, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3. Star Wars, in 2008, it stopped. 2008, he acquired it, right? 2009, 14. 14?
When they sold it off?
Yeah, was it 9 or 4? 2012. That's right. Okay, so yeah, 2009. So 2012, I was between the two, 14 and 9. So 2012. That's, I mean, essentially at the dotted line.
Essentially, when I think it just kind of went. Yeah. When
I mean, Star Wars ceased to exist when George wrote his name on the contract. So if you cared about Star Wars and you wanted to continue the legacy, I don't think you would have gone this route, because it has been an epic failure, and that is not a subjective comment. That is a objective comment when you look at, I think, box office sales, marketing. You have a 16-foot section of Rey action figures that are in clearance that you can't give away. Last Jedi is known to be one of the worst. Like, this is not an opinion. It's like the worst. Like, you got a guy like, it's Rowan Johnson. My God, like, I'm telling you, like, like, you have a guy that you've now deemed Rowan Johnson. And Jar Jar Abrams, Jar Jar being the worst character in episode. Again, George was there, get it, but again, like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, no.
I just, if you cared and all this and that, like, I don't think you would have taken the route that you've taken, because this route, albeit that there are people that like it, I still haven't figured out why they like it, because the stuff that they like is not Star Wars. And then the argument that I've heard, like, people make, like, at the local comic book store that I go to, is like, well, George intended Star Wars to be an open door, a blank canvas, and no holds barred, and there's no, inclusivity and all the, like, there was, like, George wanted to leave it open. I'm like, really? He left it open?
Wait,
like, really?
When he sold it off, or
no? Like, he didn't want. He wanted it to be. And this is a quote from one of the guys I was talking to. Like, he basically wanted. There was no constraints. Like, he wanted. You could be able to do what you want within Star Wars.
Well, it was. I mean, for a lot of the stories that we've gotten, there was a lot of different things that were. Yeah, that we got to see. I mean, look at it. We got to see things from a Sith perspective, with the Darth Bane books and the Plagueis book and stuff like that. We got to see side characters like Wedge. Yeah, Wedge Antilles doing the whole X-Wing book series. So
what we did not see,
there's been a lot of what?
Female clones of a male is what we did not see. We didn't see characters that.
No, but the funny thing is, though, is that, I mean, you could try and say it was open, but at the same time, it was still under a rule that you had to give your kind of like overdraft or notes of what you wanted to do in the book to pass it through George first.
Yeah.
Who made yes or no decisions on these things.
I forgot the most important thing that we didn't see.
So yes, it's open, but no, it's not at the same time.
Yeah.
George will say yes or no to certain stuff.
What we also didn't see, and I forgot to mention this, is Vader cowering to a handmaiden. Or Vader cowering to an Inquisitor. It just, this is stuff that, and it's all, and it comes back to that argument we made last week about, like, Disney has their own agenda that they're pushing, all this and that, and, all the, I mean, we're not making this stuff up. I'm not. For you to come out and say the Force is female, that why bring that up? Like, never in the 40 plus years of I haven't been around for 40 years, obviously, but I'm talking about from the entirety of my time being a Star Wars fan, which is the majority of my life, from what I can remember, I've never heard a comment made about the Force being female. But there's no point. But in today's society, you have to, because that's where the world's going. Like, you gotta, you know what I mean? And again, it's everything's political. You've got to politicize everything.
Yeah, the personal.
You can't just leave the Force defined as Obi-Wan defined it in A New Hope. I agree with you. I think that was beautifully done, and that should have been the only definition of the Force that we ever got. I think Alex Guinness would be rolling in his grave right now if he realized that, they're now.
I don't know if you'd care a great deal, but.
Well, I probably not, but I'd still to think
I think that falls more still to George, but
Well, but the point is,
the one that gave him the lines to say it.
Well, more so, yeah. Touche, well played. I'm just saying, you go from how George intended it to be described as the Force is female. What in the hell are you What in your small brain persuaded you or made you think that you had to come out and say something like that? It has nothing to, that is just a politically charged statement that you're making. You're using a Star Wars brand to appease the feminists out there. Again, I'm not trying to get political, but everything has now become politicized with Star Wars. They're using brand to push a message. It has nothing to do with feminism. Star Wars has nothing to do with that. Yeah, but you're using that.
It's that push.
Yeah.
So intersectional feminism and all that crap.
There's no excuse that you can give me to justify her coming on set. It's just stupid. There's no reason to, other than you want to push a certain, you want to appease people and push
which has become more and more what it's been about versus what people say, just telling a goddamn story.
You just leave the story how it was intended to be told. Don't try, you know what I mean? But I know there's people out there that will always come up. It's like we come up with counter arguments to what they believe. They'll come up with counter arguments to what we believe. The difference is our arguments are better, in my opinion. Are more based off facts versus feelings. There might be feelings in there, sure, opinions, feelings, but at the core, most of us who follow the EU and are Lucas era loyalists, if you will.
Although you didn't know that the First Order were called stormtroopers. So
they're not called they're not stormtroopers. They're so stupid. They're not stormtroopers.
I'm sorry, I couldn't resist.
You and your space bridge and Thrawn and First Order stormtroopers can go kick a bucket. Someone's gonna listen to this. I'm gonna be like, "Oh, we're gonna stop following this guy." No, it's just irritating. And so what has started as a watching these episodes and ripping on it's much bigger than just each one of these episodes. And I think each time we do this, at its core, just reminds me how screwed up they have taken, how screwed up Star Wars has become because of them. You can't just tell a story. You can't just continue on with George's legacy. You have to literally pull your butt cheeks aside and just let the sludge come out.
Yep.
I'm gonna go get Taco Bell, and I'm gonna have a lot of bean burritos, and I'm gonna poop out my feelings later tonight.
I'm gonna have some homemade Mexican food that we made, so I won't be doing that to myself. So
Well, you eat your homemade your homemade Mexican, and I'll go eat my taco hell.
There you go. So with that, we come to an end. It was fun. I let you go. I let you out of the cage. So to
Bro,
speak.
I did not. P.S. I apologize. I did not mean Ralph. This was actually Ralph. You
Great. It
heard.
was entertaining. I enjoyed it.
Everybody got a taste of Ralph. I'm gonna put Ralph back in the cage.
So with that, I'll say good night. I have a clip to play out that I've enjoyed. And I love this clip. It's from my favorite show, MST3K. So with that, but before we do go, I do want to say thanks to Emperor Doomsday for jumping in and watching the show while they were watching. That was awesome. Thank you. And then of course tomorrow night we have Sunday night shenanigans.
Yes.
Sunday night shenanigans. We're going to be still back at playing Star Wars: The Old Republic.
We're in the bowels of Balmora still currently, I believe.
No, we finished Balmora.
We're not on Balmora. Oh, we're on
Nar Shaddaa.
Nar Shaddaa.
But Mr. Insect and I have a plan for you. We're gonna do something off to the side, so we'll be leaving Nar Shaddaa for a little bit.
Do I get my chair?
We'll see.
Do I get my Ewok?
So that, with the surprise in hand, come and join us 5:30 p.m. For us Mountain Time. So 5:30 p.m. we'll be getting the show rolling over on our Twitch channels. Mine, of course, is the Fractured Filter. On Twitch.com, and then JHitman187.
So pumped.
Maybe please come on by and join us.
Yeah, Davyaso will maybe not be on.
I've given up on him.
Yeah, especially after this episode, he's gonna listen.
Although maybe next week he might be joining us because it's the Rex episode, and instead he would join us for that. We'll see. I don't know. I'm not holding him to his word because he can't freaking keep it.
Flaky like a pastry.
Anyway, to that I say good night. Thanks for watching.
Most of you folks want to touch the llama, huh? That's right, huh? You want to touch this old llama? Well, you just go right ahead. You can touch that old llama all you want. You can touch that old llama all night till hell freezes over. Not me, though. No sirree, Bob. I wouldn't touch that whole thing. Llama hasn't been feeling so good. It smells funny, too. Whoa, smells really kind of rank, you know? But you can touch it if you want. Ain't no law says you can't. Ain't that right, Mikey? Ain't there no laws that says folks can't touch this smelly old llama if they want, huh, Mikey, huh? Huh?
You people bring matches for Mikey?
You shut up, Mikey! You shut up! You folks don't give no matches to Mikey, you hear me? You hear me? I don't care what Mikey say or Mikey do! Don't give him no matches! I don't care if Mikey come crawling into your window, start making that big old mess! Don't you give no matches to Mikey! Don't you give no matches! Shut up, Mikey! Shut up, Mama! Shut up out there! Don't give no matches! No matches to Mikey!